Okay, I'll be going through the working for a trial paper today. So this is a maths trial paper. Yeah, it's a mathematics trial paper and it's a Kertas 2 and it's a trial 2024 for Negeri Sembilan. Okay. This trial just finished recently, right? It's like August, September 2024 trial paper. Okay. So let's start. Okay, I'm gonna scroll past the working, the formulas. Okay, so this is question number 1. Okay, let's start. Diagram 1 shows 5 hemisphere. So what is hemisphere? Hemisphere is half a sphere, right? So we all know sphere looks like this. So this is a 3D shape. It's called sphere. But if it's hemisphere means we will cut half of it, right? So this is 5 hemisphere, right? So let's keep reading. 5 hemisphere arranged side by side in a straight line. So we can see it. Okay, now they says given that the volume of a hemisphere is 261 19/21 cm cube, find the value of P. So I think the keyword here is a hemisphere. It means one hemisphere, the volume is this, right? So I think we need to use the volume of sphere formula for this question, right? Okay, actually it's the volume of hemisphere, right? But I will write down the volume of sphere first, right? So volume of sphere for one whole sphere, the formula is 4/3 pi r cube. Okay, or in Bahasa Melayu, some teacher will teach 4/3 pi j kuasa 3. It's the same thing. Okay, R and J is both radius, is jejari, right? It's the same. Okay, this one is for the volume of one whole sphere. What if it's only for half a sphere, a hemisphere? Then it will be 2/3 pi r cube. So this is the formula that we will use to solve this question, right? Because these are all hemisphere. Okay, so what I will do now is I will write down 2/3 pi r cube equals to 261 19/21, right? The reason is because they already said volume of one hemisphere is this, right? So I'm just gonna take the volume of one hemisphere formula equals to this, right? But for the pi, I will put in 22/7. So it will become 2/3 times with 22/7 because they want us to use pi 22/7, right? And then for the radius, they never give, right? They never give. But they did mention that find value of P, right? And if you can see, P is actually 5 times with the diameter. Do you agree? Because there's 5 hemisphere here. 1 2 3 4 5. And P is the length from here to here, which is the length of 5 hemisphere diameter, right? And we all know diameter is equals to 2 times radius. So we can say that 5 times diameter is same with 5 times with 2 radius, which gives you 10r. It means P is actually 10r. It's actually 10 times radius because it's 1 radius, 2 radius, 3 radius, 4 radius, 5 radius, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? So for the radius, I think you can put in P over 10 because if P is equals to 10r, then r will be P divided by 10. And we can sub it in like this. And don't forget to power 3 and then equals to this, lah, right? Remember to change this to improper fraction, okay? Because this is mixed number, right? And how do we change it? We take 21. Okay, 21 will stay the same down here, right? But for the top number here, you have to take 21 times with 261 plus with 19. So let me press my calculator. 21 times 261 plus 19. Okay, my calculator give me 5500, right? So if we convert this to improper fraction, it will be 5500/21. So now we can find our P. First thing is I will multiply these two first, right? And the way to multiply is just to take atas darab atas, bawah darab bawah. So you end up with 44/21, right? Okay, and then multiply with P over 10 power 3. I think take you can do power 3, right? Just take the atas number power 3 and then the bawah number also power 3. So it becomes P power 3 over 1000, right? Don't forget that both number also have the power 3, because it's like the whole thing, right? Okay, and then for the 550/21, you can just write it down like this. And now we can pindah, right? We can move this over there. So when we move it over there, it will become like this. P power 3 over 1000 equals to 5500 over 21. Okay, this 21, can you see dia duduk bawah? Yeah, dia duduk bawah. So if duduk bawah means divide. Divide when you move there becomes darab. So it becomes duduk atas. And then the 44 duduk atas. Duduk atas means darab. When you move over there, it becomes bahagi. So it will be duduk bawah like this, right? So now we can press all this in the calculator, right? But there's a quick method because this one can cut, right? Because when you take fraction multiply with fraction, atas bawah sama, you can cut, you can potong. So you left with p power 3 over 1000 equals to 5500 over 44. But let's press this in our calculator. See what the calculator give me. Okay, wait for me. Let me press. Okay, I'm done. My calculator give me 125. Hope you get the same also. All right, and then now you will move the 1000 over there. It becomes times 1000, and when you times 1000, you get 125000. And the last step is just to move the cube, the power 3, right? So when you move cube over there, it becomes cube root. Or in bahasa Melayu, kuasa 3 hantar jadi punca kuasa 3. So what is punca kuasa 3? 125,000. I think it's 50, right? Let me double confirm with my calculator because I'm scared I don't want to give you the wrong answer. So yeah, my calculator also give me 50. So I think P is 50. And let's write the unit, right? Just to be safe, right? So P, I think it will be in centimeter. You know why? Because the volume just now is in cm cube. So if the volume is cm cube, then the the R radius will automatically be in cm also, right? Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, so let's go back down and just put cm here because P is the length, right? And that's the answer, right? So 4 marks. Okay, I'm done. Okay, let's continue with question number 2 here. All right, let's read question. Table 1 shows the amount of donation, okay, collected by Ahmad and Ranjit for the community service program. So these are donation, right? So 2 person make donation, Ahmad and Ranjit. Ahmad, he donate how much? 10240 base 5. Okay. And then Ranjit, oh, never mind. They are not making the donation, they are collecting the donation. Sorry. So this is like total collection, right? So the Ahmad, he collect 10240 base 5, Ranjit collect 650 base 7, right? But since this is donation, it should be in RM, right? Yeah, because it's like money, right? So the unit should be RM. Okay, now they say calculate the difference of sum in base 10, right? Okay, don't find the difference first. Don't find the difference first. You can't find the difference now because they are different base, right? So I think you have to convert both this value to base 10 first. Afterwards, then only you take besar tolak kecil because that's how you find difference, right? Is you take the big number minus the small number, right? But I think the first step is change to base 10 first. So I will write down in my working, I will write Ahmad here, and then the other side I will write Ranjit, right? And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna change the the value to base 10. So I will just write 10240 base 5, and then I will change to base 10, right? Okay, how can we change a base 5 to base 10? Okay, if you are changing a smaller base to base 10, you will always use the darab punya cara. Okay, the multiply punya cara. What do I mean by that? Because there's two ways, right? One is the divide cara, the one where you have to write down the remainder, like the one lah. That one is when you convert a base 10 to a smaller base, then only you use that method. But when you do it in reverse, where you want to convert smaller base to base 10, you will always use the darab punya cara. The darab punya cara is you have to write down the place value first, right? So if it's base 5, the place value will be 5 power 0, 5 power 1, 5 power 2, 5 power 3, 5 power 4. Sometimes students will make careless mistake. They will write 5 power 1 and then 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that one wrong. You have to always start with 5 power 0. Okay, so just be careful. All right, so now the method is you have to take all this number, all the place value, I mean, times with the digit down here. So it becomes 5 power 4 times 1, and then plus with the next one, 5 power 3 times 0, which is 0. So I'm not going to write, okay, because it's 0, right? So I'm not going to write 0. And then the next one is 5 power 2 times 2, plus with the next one will be 5 power 1 times 4, right? And then plus with the last one, 5 power 0 times 0. But I know anything times 0 is 0, right? So I'm not going to write I'm not going to write the 0. If you want to write, you can write also. Then you write 0 lah. But it's like when you plus 0, nothing happens. That's why I don't want to write it. Okay, so now we just press calculator and see what we get. Right. So let me press 5 power 4 plus 20, 50 plus 20. Okay, my calculator give me 695. All right, 695. And you have to write in base 10. Because yeah, when you plus all this, the answer comes out is already in base 10. Okay, now let's do for Ranjit. So Ranjit, the collection is 650 base 7. And I also have to change to base 10 so that I can find the difference later, right? Okay, how to convert a smaller base like base 7 to base 10? Same method, you will times with the place value. But if it's base 7, the place value will be 7 power 0, 7 power 1, 7 power 2. And you do like just now also, 7 power 2 times 6 in bracket, plus with 7 power 1 times 5 in bracket, plus with 7 power 0 times 0. And I don't like to write when it's 0, because when you plus 0, nothing happens, right? So I will just leave it. Okay, so now I will just press this whole thing. 49 times 6, let me press plus 7 times 5. Okay, my calculator give me 329. Okay, so that is the base 10 value, 329 base 10. Okay, but it's not finished yet. They ask for difference, right? They ask for difference. So now I have to write difference. And how to find the difference in base 10 is to take the big number minus the small number. Okay, ambil besar tolak kecil. So besar is obviously 695. Kecil is 329. So when you minus, okay, and they're both base 10, and also why we can minus is because they are same base, right? And we can minus using calculator because it's base 10, right? Okay, so let's press 695 minus 329. Okay, I'm done pressing my calculator. My calculator give me 366, right? And just to be safe, write the unit lah. Okay, and since this is collection or donation, so I think it's better to write RM and put the base 10 also. Okay, put the base 10 also, so that because this is a number-based question, so it's always recommended to write the base for the number-based question, right? Okay, so that's all, 3 marks. Okay, for question 1 also, just now I got mentioned, right? Right, write unit, because they will give you marks here. If you don't want to write unit up here, it's fine. But the final answer, I always recommend students to write it. Okay, hope you understand. Okay, number 3. Let's read the question. In diagram 2, RS is a common tangent, right? So common means this RS is common tangent, is tangent to both circle lah, to the circle with center P and Q. Okay, immediately when you see the word tangent, you have to think about 90 degrees, right? So what do I mean by that? So for example, if I give you a circle here and I draw a line, and this line only touches the circle at one point, then this line we call it a tangent line, right? Because tangent line will always touch the circle at one point, and you need to know that if the center of circle, if I tarik one line to tangent point, it will always be 90 degree. Okay, but it must be from center. If it's not from center, then it's not 90. So they already say circle with center P and center Q. So P is center of circle, Q is center of circle, and RS is the tangent. So therefore, this will be 90 degree, and another 90 degree will be here, right? Okay, let's keep going. ST is a tangent to the circle with center P. Oh, there's another tangent line, which is the ST, but it's only tangent to the circle with center P. That means if I tarik one line from the center, which is P, to the tangent point, it will be 90 degree, right? It will be 90 degree, right? But they never put the line for me, right? I just add it myself, but it's okay. All right. So far this is all I can label now. Let's keep reading. There's still some information here. Given that the PR is 7 cm, so PR is the radius of this circle, 7, right? So I'll just write 7 here. And also PT will be 7 also, because PT is also radius. And guess what? The length from here to here will be 7 also. Okay. Uh, but I'll erase it for now. Okay, next one, QS is 2 cm. So the radius of small circle is 2. Q to here also is radius. Okay, but until here only lah. Okay. Okay. All right. So what's next? PQ is 12. Okay, where is it? Oh, P to Q also is like a whole line. So it's from here to here is 12. But here to here we know already is 7, right? Just now. So if the whole length from here to here is 12, we can take 12 minus 7 minus 2, which is 3, and the 3 will be from here to here, right? But I don't think it helps. Okay, I'll just put it lah. Yeah, because Yeah, I'll just label it. Yeah. I don't know whether it will be useful or not, but I'll just label it. But make sure you know that the tree is here to here. Okay, now let's see what they want to calculate. Calculate soalan A, the length of ST. So I'll do it here. So ST is which line? I think it's referring to this line, ST, right? So if I want to find the ST line, I need to make sure you all understand one. I need you to I need you to make sure you understand what is common tangent, right? Because if you don't understand what's common tangent, you can't do this question, right? So uh I already explained if tangent, you have to think about 90 degree, but there's one more things, there's one more rule that you have to remember. If I give you a circle and I give you and the circle have two tangent, right? If the circle have two tangent, that means the center tarik to the tangent point would be 90, 90, right? This one very straightforward, you know it. But if there's two tangent and these two tangent intersect at one point, you can tarik a line from center to here, and you will get two right angle triangle with the same size, right? And this line will be same length. This one will be same length, okay? And this angle, I call it X. This angle, I call it Y. This angle will be X, this angle will be Y, right? It means this triangle, the right angle up here and the right angle down here is the same size. Okay, it's like a reflection of each other, right? They will have the same length, same angle, same everything. Okay, it's just that it's like upside down, but it's like everything is same size, same size, same angle, everything same lah. And of course, this and this also same because they are both radius, right? So this one you need to know lah. Because why I want to explain this is because you realize there's two tangent here, right? So what we can do here is we can put down this symbol indicates the, I see that already. So we can put down this symbol ST and SR, right? ST and SR uh, is the same panjang. Okay. Okay, let me just erase the tree because it's like it's confusing. Okay, so ST and SR will be the same length. Okay, because of this rule here, right? Two tangent, right? So if they want to find the length of ST, it's actually same as saying finding the length of SR because they are the same length, SR, right? So how can we find the length of SR? Okay, what if I find separately? I find this length separately, and then plus them together. It's not possible, right? It's not possible. It will be difficult. You know why? Because in order to find this, okay, we have a right angle here, right? But you need two side, right? If you want to find, like, let's say this side, if you have two of the side, then you can find it by using Pythagoras theorem, but you only have one side. The hypotenuse you don't know. It's actually 7 plus this small line here, but we don't know how long is that. So we cannot use this method. So what other method we can use? And also they never give us angle, right? If they give us any angle here, then at least I can use like trigo, like the Sokato. So I'm stuck here. I can't find it using Pythagoras theorem. I can't find it using trigo because not enough information. So SR, right? SR, this line. Okay, we do know PQ is 12, right? PQ is 12, right? And PQ is actually a side of a right angle triangle, right? But you need to tambah some line to make it a right angle. So if you look PQ here, this is actually the hypotenuse. But you have to panjangkan this line and panjangkan this line like this so that it forms a right angle, right? Because there's one more thing you need to know about common tangent. For example, if I give you, okay, let me do it up here, right? So if I give you one circle like this, another circle like this, and I put a tangent line like this, right? This one automatic, you know, is 90 already, right? This one must you know one, right? But you need to know these two lines will be parallel. Yeah, if it's this case, right? It will be parallel. And when it's parallel, if you join a line like this, go here, this angle is same with this angle because the Z shape, right? When you have two parallel, when you have a Z shape and these two lines parallel, this angle and this angle same. So this angle and this angle same, right? And then this angle also same with this because it's like opposite. It means this triangle and this triangle, they might not be the same size. They might not be the same size, but they will have the same corresponding angle. You understand? This one very important actually.
This one very important. So let's come back to our diagram here. So if you look carefully, did you see this shape? You see it, right? So this is what I'm explaining just now, right? So parallel, parallel, and which angle same? This angle same, and then z, this angle and this angle same, right? But of course now we don't know any of the angle, so I can't write anything. But when I add the line like this, right? Let's see. When I add the line like this and make this a 90-degree, we know that this forms a rectangle, right? This forms a rectangle. And for rectangle, the opposite side will be same length. So if this is 2, this must be 2 also. It means that the whole thing here is 9, right? And then what about the length here? Well, the length here is the same length as SR lah, right? SR, right? And I told you SR and ST is same length. I already mentioned it here, right? That means we can actually use this right angle. Okay, where's my highlighter? I need highlighter, highlighter. Okay, I can use this right angle to find the length of ST. Okay, so I will draw it out. So it looks like this, right? So the 90-degree, I don't have any point here, so don't label it. But here is P, right? And then go there is Q. And then the panjang here is 7 plus 2, which is 9. And this length, I don't know. But the PQ, I know is 12. Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. So now we can find this length by using Pythagoras theorem, right? So what we do is we will take square root 12 square minus 9 square. Minus because you are not finding the hypotenuse, right? Okay, so when you do this, you will straight away get your answer. Okay, so let me press. Okay, my calculator give me 7.937. 7.937. So that is the answer. And don't forget to write the unit. I think it's cm, right? Yeah, everything is in cm, right? Okay, 7.937 is the length here, right? But do you know that this length and this length is same? Because it's rectangle ma. Yeah, so opposite side same, right? And if this side is 7.937, then ST automatic also 7.937, because I told you already they are the same length, right? Okay, now we are done. Now let's go to B. So if you go to B now, they say like find the length of QU. Where is QU? Q is here, U is here. Okay, how to find this? Uh, let's see. Oh, do you remember I mentioned something just now? I said if there's a common tangent joining the circle in this way, these two right angle triangle, they will not be the same size, but they will have the same corresponding angle. It means these two triangle, they are similar. Similar means what? It means they are not the same size, but they have same corresponding angle. That means they are enlargement of each other. Do you remember from chapter 5, you learn about enlargement? And what happens when you enlarge the object? The image and the object will have the same ratio of corresponding side. You remember, right? Because when you enlarge, for example, this is a right angle triangle, you enlarge, you make it bigger, the size change, of course, but the angle never change actually. All the corresponding angles stay the same. Yeah, when you enlarge some things, the angle never change, right? That means the ratio will be same. I mean, like when you sorry, let me say it again. When you enlarge, the corresponding angles stay the same, all right? But the size become bigger already, right? But the ratio will be the same. Like the ratio, I mean, when you find the scale factor, right? Like when you take the image divided object, image divided object, image divided object, it will be the same, right? So I think we can apply this to solve this question, right? So they want to find QU, which is the length from here to here, right? But do you know QU divide by UP, because that's the I told you, right? This and this, they are like uh they are not the same size, but they have the same ratio. They have the same ratio of corresponding side, right? So QU, the corresponding side will be UP, right? So QU over UP will be 2 over 7, because 2 2 is SQ ma, and the corresponding side for SQ, or you can say like the image lah, the corresponding side is 7 here, right? So let me repeat one more time. QU corresponding side is UP, SQ corresponding side is this one, and then this corresponding side is this one, right? And when you divide, when you get the ratio of corresponding side, it will be equal, okay? Because it's these two triangle, they are similar. It's like an enlargement of each other, right? Okay, so now we can try to solve this. And don't forget, we are trying to find QU. So QU, the is the final answer. So I will let it become X, right? Because we don't know. And then for the UP, I can write 12 minus X because the whole line just now is 12, right? And if I let this become X, I take 12 minus X, I get the remaining UP equals to 2 over 7. And now I can cross multiply to find X. 7 times X is 7X. 2 times 12 is 24 minus 2X. 7X minus 2, bring it over there, become plus 2, become 9X equals 24. And then X equals to 24 divide 9. So press calculator. Okay, my calculator give me 2.6666666. So you can write write four significant figure lah, 667, right? Okay, so now we can say that the QU, because QU is X, right? I just now I jadikan QU X. So X is QU lah. So the answer is 2.667 and centimeters. Okay, so I hope you understand. This question is actually very difficult. It took me a very long time to figure out like how to do this question. Okay, so it's like very challenging lah. Okay, but anyways, I hope you understand. Let's continue. Okay, let's continue with question number 4. So let's read the question first. Diagram 3 shows a parallelogram. So when you see the word parallelogram, you have to know, you have to label this, right? So you have to put arrow, arrow, and then put 2 arrows here, right? So I always teach my student always label like this when they give you parallelogram. Okay, why we have to label like this is to remind ourselves that these two lines, the opposite two lines, will be parallel, meaning they will have the same gradient, right? So for this case, the gradient of OR will be the same with gradient of PQ. And the gradient of QR will be same with gradient of OP. Okay, because opposite side parallel. Parallel means gradient same, right? So uh, it's important to label it like this. Okay, diagram 3 shows a parallelogram OPQR drawn on the Cartesian plane. Okay, no problem. And then what they want here, find the equation of straight line QR. Okay, I think this is under Form 3, Chapter 9, the last chapter, which is called straight line. Okay, it's a Form 3 chapter. So I will give you some notes here. First, we have to know that the straight line, okay, there's two types of straight line, right? First type of straight line is, we call it the non-gradient line. Okay, so non-gradient line looks like this, right? It's horizontal, or is either horizontal or vertical, right? And if it's a horizontal line, it will cut the y-axis. Yeah, it will potong the y-axis. It will cut the y-axis. So the equation will be y equals number, right? Y equals something lah. And the number depends on where they cut the y-axis lah. If they cut the y-axis at 5, then it's y equals 5 lah. It depends on where they cut it. If it's completely straight like this, vertical like this, then the equation will be x equals something, x equals number, right? Because if the line is like this, it will cut the x-axis, right? And if it cuts at 7, then it's x equals 7. If it cuts 5, then x equals 5 lah. So this one is for non-gradient, right? But there's another type of equation which is called the gradient, the line where you have gradient, right? Oh, and I also want to mention why we call these two lines non-gradient. The reason why we call this line non-gradient is because the gradient is 0 for this line. And for this, the gradient is undefined. Math error. Okay, if you do the calculation and find the gradient for the line like this, you will get math error. Okay, you'll get undefined. Okay, so that is why these two lines is considered like a non-gradient line. Okay, it's like, because the gradient is 0 and infinity, right? So it's non-gradient, right? But for the gradient line, the line will look like this. The line will be sengit, right? You can see, right? It's clearly slanted, like it's like sengit lah. This one tak ada sengit. Tak ada sengit. That's why the gradient is 0 or infinity, right? But for this case, the gradient will not be 0 or infinity. The gradient will be positive something if the line is going up like this lah. And for this case, the gradient will be negative something if it's going down like this, right? So if it's a gradient line, then we will write our equation like this: y equals mx plus c. Okay, so it's very different with the non-gradient line. For non-gradient line, it will only have one variable, y equals something or x equals something, depending on the line, depending on whether the line is horizontal or vertical. But if it's a second line, it will definitely have two variables, y and x, right? And the most important thing is the m and the c, right? Because the y and x, It just stays there. You don't have to sub the xy. You don't have to do anything, man. The xy, it has to be there. For when you write equation, your final answer will have the y, has to write yx1. It's just that the m and c you have to find out yourself. So first, how to find gradient? You will use this formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. But in order to use this formula, we need to have two coordinates, right? Two coordinates to find the gradient, right? So that is step number one. Step number two is to find the y-intercept, which is the c. Okay, for the y-intercept, there's two method. All right, there's two method. First method is we use our eyes to check whether they got give us the y-intercept or not. So for example, if I put a diagram like this and I draw like this, so you can see where's your y-intercept. This is your y-intercept, right? Y-intercept means the how to say, the exact coordinate where the line touches the y-axis, which is this point lah. So if they could give you this point, then you can straight away take it out and just put it in your equation, the plus c. But sometimes they never give us, right? Sometimes they never give us, right? So if they never give us, that's when we use our second method. So the second method is you have to sub, right? You have to sub, okay? But I will put a star here and write passes through. Okay, so what does it mean by this? It means if they never give you C and you have your gradient already, you just sub in the X and Y. Okay, you sub, because if you want to find C and you already have your gradient, the only thing you need now is the X and Y if you want to find C, right? But when you sub the XY, remember you have to sub with a point. The point has to be passes through the line. Or you can say like the line must passes through the point. Then only you can substitute the point, right? Okay, and the third thing I want to mention is x-intercept. X-intercept, you just ganti y equals 0. Yeah, just take the full equation and then sub y equals 0. Okay, so these are all the notes, or you can say like the nota lah. Okay, the nota for this chapter. Okay, but of course during exam you don't have to write all this. This is just my notes for you. Okay, so now only I will start to do the question. So now we look at the question now. Find equation of QR. So I will do my working here, QR. So let's check first. QR, this line, is it a gradient line or non-gradient line? It's a gradient line because it's a sengit. You can clearly see it's sengit, right? It's not non. If it's non-gradient, it will be like this one, like horizontal or vertical. Okay, and how you know it's horizontal? It will be like parallel to x-axis or parallel to y-axis. But this line is clearly a gradient line, so straight away write y equals mx plus c. Okay, because for gradient line, that's how the equation looks like. For the m and c, you need to find it now. So we need the gradient of qr because we are finding equation of qr, right? So automatic, we need the gradient of qr. But do we have two coordinates to put inside this formula? The answer is no, because in qr line, there's no two they only give you one coordinate on the line qr. So we cannot use this formula. But do you remember they mentioned this is a parallelogram and I already put the arrow, right? So luckily I put the arrow, because if I never put the arrow, I will get stuck here and I cannot do, right? But since I label very but since I label nicely, so now I know I can actually I can actually pinjam the gradient of OP. Why we can pinjam is because this is a parallelogram and these two lines will have the same gradient. So I can't find the gradient of QR, but I can find the gradient of OP and borrow it. I can pinjam from gradient of P because they have the same gradient. So gradient of OP, and you know O, the coordinate will be 0, 0, right? And P is 3, 7, and you have two coordinate already. So you can just use the formula y minus y, 7 minus 0, and then 3 minus 0. And the gradient is 703. And if the gradient of this line is 703, the opposite will be 703 also, because parallelogram, right? So parallelogram, opposite lines have same gradient. And once you have the gradient, you can put it inside the equation. So it'll be y equals 7 over 3x plus c, right? Okay, for the c, you have to check with your eyes first, right? You check with your eyes and see whether you can get your y-intercept from looking at the diagram. So if you look at the diagram, this is your line. This is your QR, right? Where is the y-intercept? Okay, some of you will tell me, hey, sir, don't have y-intercept lah. So I have to write 0. Actually got y-intercept, okay? You can't see it is because you have to panjangkan the line. You have to extend the line to be able to see it. So what you have to do is you have to extend this line and extend the y-axis, then only you see it, right? So this is the y-intercept, right? So dia ada bagi tak ini y-intercept? Dia tak bagi, right? So they never give us, right? So we don't know what is the value here. So we can't get it from the diagram. So we have to use the second method, which is substitute a point, substitute x, y inside, but make sure we use the point. We make sure, but make sure the point we use got passes through the line lah. Okay, so the point that I will use here is this point, -74. Okay, because the line got passes through this point. You cannot use the other points, right? Because the other point no passes through cannot use. So that's why I put a star here and write passes through. So now I can't find the C, so I'll just write the C here, and I will just write PT, which stands for passes through. So passes through separ -74. And what I will do now is I will sub the x -7 y4 inside here, get the c. So it will become 4 equals 7 over 3x plus c. And for the x, you put -7. So now it becomes 4 equals -49 over 3 plus c. Okay, this one only darab atas saja. Or you can use your calculator also can. Okay, what is 4 plus 49 over 3? Let me press. Okay, my calculator give me 61 over 3. Right? So I think that's the C answer. But don't stop here, please. They want equation. So you should write down the final equation will be y equals, okay, what is the mx? 7 over 3x. And then for the c is 61 over 3, right? So that's how you do it, okay? And I repeat one more time. This whole thing is not the working. This is just a notes. I just give you my nota. Like, this is what you show them. This is the real working, okay? Not this one. This one is just nota only, okay? All right, hope you understand. Okay, let's continue. Next question, number 5. Let's read the question. A beverage processing machine produces 62.92 meter cube, right? So whenever you see meter cube, it means it's volume, right? It's talking about volume, right? Okay, so produces 62.92 meter cube of beverage per day from a tank. Okay, the tank has a radius of 2.2 meter and a height of 4 meter. Okay, so far they give us some information, but I think I have to keep reading because I don't know, I still don't know which chapter is this question. So let's keep reading. I need to know which chapter first. Then only I can uh make a strategy, or I need to know which chapter first, then only I can plan how to solve this question. So let's keep reading. Given that the volume of tank V varies directly. Okay, when I read until here, I know for sure is which chapter? Form 5 chapter 1, right? Variation, right? It's the variation chapter. Okay. So after I know it's variation chapter, now I can apply the step already. So when I teach variation, I always say got few steps you need to hafal. So the first step, step number 1 is write down the variation. Okay, write down the variation. And then the step 2 is convert the variation to equation. Okay. Because when you write variation, you will have this symbol. This is a symbol for relationship. Okay. And what is step number 2 is changing this to equals k, right? Equals, and then you have to add a constant. The constant I will usually use k, but you can use whatever alphabet you want actually. And this is called the constant. So after you convert to the equation, step 3 is to find the constant, right? So if my constant is k, then I find k lah. And step 4 is rewrite. Okay, rewrite. Okay, so we have to follow these 4 steps, right? Hey, but sometimes the question got step 5 one. Okay, okay, but the step 5 is like after you rewrite and then you have to find something else lah. But that one never mind. You just remember these 4 steps you have to do for every case. Okay, for every aberration question you have to do all these 4 steps. Okay, all right, so now let's try to do it. So first step is write down the variation. So they already said v varies directly with square of radius and height. So we can already write down our variation. So v varies directly means you will write atas. So directly with who? Square of radius j and height. So directly as square of radius. and they want to use they want us to use J to represent radius, but don't forget to put power 2 because they say square of radius. And then the height, they want to use T, so I write T. And both also you write atas because directly ma. Okay, so this is the step one, the variation. And I recommend for the story question, because this is a story question, right? So it means the V will represent something, the J will represent something, the T will represent something. So I always teach my own student, if it's a story question, try to write down what it represents. And if possible, write down the unit also. Okay, because that's how they get you, right? That's how you make mistake, is when you are not clear what it represents and what's the unit, right? Okay, so V, according to the question, represents volume of tank, right? But I'm just gonna write volume, right? Okay, and then J is what? The radius, right? So the unit would be in meter, okay, meter, huh? And then the T represents height, okay? The question mentioned already. So I will just write height, and it's in meter, okay? And then for the volume is in meter cube, okay? Why is it important to write down this? Because sometimes the information they never give us in meter, maybe they give in cm, right? Then you have to convert first, right? So it's like very important to, okay, for story question, always make sure you know what all the unknown represents. Okay, so now we can do A. Express V in terms of J and T. This is not the answer. If they say V in terms of J and T, means it has to be V equals. It has to be V equals. So you have to do step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Then only you get the answer. So now you only finish step 1 only. Now we have to do step 2, which is convert this symbol to equals, and you have to add a constant, and let's use K. And then here I write the same thing, J square T. Okay, and the relationship here is times, this times relation. Okay, now step 3 is to find the constant, find K. And how can you find K is to substitute the V, J, and T, right? And trust me, they will give you one, the V, J, and T. If they never give you, then you can't find the K already. So they got give you just now, remember, in the first line, they already give you. So the 62.92, the 2.2, and the 4. This is the V, J, and T. But make sure you put it at the right place. 62.92, you sub it at the V, right? And then the 2.2, that's the radius. So that one you sub at J, because J is the radius, right? Okay, and then T is the height, and the height is 4, so you sub at T like this, 4. Okay, and one more reason why you can sub like this is because the unit is already betul, right? The unit is also meter, meter, meter cube. But I pernah tengok soalan yang need to convert unit first. Got question like that one. That's why you have to be very careful. Okay, be very careful. Okay, so now I can get my K now. Just press 62.92, divide 4, divide 2.2 square. Divide, because times move over there, become divide. So let me press, wait for me. Divide 4, divide 2.2 square. Okay, my calculator give me 13 over 4. Okay, if I write in decimal, it's 3.25. So I think I will write in fraction lah. So just write 13 over 4. So now I can do my step 4, which is to rewrite. So when we rewrite, that's that's our answer lah. So when we rewrite, we will refer this. So it will be V equals 13 over 4 J square T, right? And the J square T, make sure you write in the middle. Like right in the middle like this. Or you want to write up also can. Okay, just don't write down lah. If you write down, it's wrong. Okay, because 13 over 4 times J square T, it means the J square T times atas. So you can write like this, or you can also or you can write like this also can. Yeah, this is also correct. Okay, it's the same thing. Okay, the most important thing here is don't write down. If you write down, it's wrong. Okay, let's continue with B. I'll do here. So let's read the question. The factory owner wants to increase the daily production of drinks by 82.65 meter cube. So this obviously the volume, right? But you don't tell me the V is 82.65, huh? No, 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 no. Read carefully. Read carefully. Increase the daily production of drinks by 82.65 by replacing the tank with a new tank on the same shape, right? In bahasa Melayu, pengusaha kilang ingin meningkatkan pengeluaran minuman sehari sebanyak 82.65 dengan menggantikan tangki itu dengan tangki baru yang mempunyai bentuk yang sama. So, the V is not 82.65. Okay? Because it's not like he increased the volume from 62.92 to 82.65. No, no, no. It's not like that. It's actually 62.92 plus with 82.65 because they say increase production by this amount. So the new production will be 62.92 plus with 82.65. So your V should be 62.92 plus with 82.65, right? And then they said if both tanks are the same height, calculate the radius of the new tank. Okay, this one is the one where you have to do step 5 lah. You remember just now when I give you notes, I said sometimes the soalan asks for step 5, right? It means after they rewrite, they want you to find something else. So this is the question lah. They want you to find radius, right? So it means later you have to find J, right? But you have to continue with your A answer, right? So your A answer is uh, V equals 13 over 4J square T, right? And now I want to find J, the radius. So the J we don't have. But the T and the V we have, right? Because they already said the new V is 62.92 plus 82.65. So I think I will write it here, 62.92 plus 82.65, right? And then for the T, I will write 4. Why we can write 4? Because they got mentioned here, ma. You see, if both tanks are the same height, and the height is T, right? And the old height is 4. Remember the old height, where is it? Here, right? T is 4. Okay, the height 4. So the new height will be 4 also. So now we can just continue from here and then we can know the J answer, right? Okay, but let's plus first. 62.92 plus first. 82.65. Okay, my calculator give me 145.57. So write it down, 145.57. And then this will be, this one can cut, right? Yeah, because everything here is times, right? So when you times, atas bawah sama memang boleh potong. So you left with 13J square. So now you can find your J square. Just move the 13 over there, becomes divide 13. So you press calculator. Okay, my calculator give me like very many decimal place. And if I change the fraction, it doesn't let me change it. So I'm just gonna write 11.19 uh 197. So I write 20 lah. And then when I square it, I will use the answer button. Because when you use answer button, it's more accurate. So just tekan square root answer. All right, my calculator give me 3 point. Okay, it's like you can't change to fraction, right? So there's no point changing. Just write in decimal lah. But make sure you write 4 significant figure. So 3.346, right? The next digit is 2, so I don't have the plus 1. So what is the radius of the new tank? I'm just gonna write here dot 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 radius is 3.346, and I recommend writing meter, okay, because that's the unit, right? And that's all, right? That's the answer. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, now we will do question number 6. All right, this is a insurance question. Okay, let's read the question first. Table 2 shows the annual premium rate for every RM 1000 face value of life insurance annual new offered by DHFN Insurance Company. So when we do life insurance, question, they will always give us a table, and this table will tell us the life insurance rate. Okay, but before I continue, I want to talk to you about the life insurance premium formula, because if you don't know the formula, it's very hard for you to do this question. So let's write down the formula for annual premium. This is the formula. So what is the formula to calculate annual premium for life insurance? For life insurance, the formula is like this. You will take the face value, divide with 1000 times with the rate. Okay. So this is the formula that you need to know. So because why we have to divide 1000 is because this rate is for per 1000 face value. It's only for every 1000. So the total face value, you have to divide 1000 first. Then only you can multiply with the rate and the rate you get from the table. Okay. And that's how you get the annual premium. Okay. So this is the formula you need to hafal. You need to remember if you want to do the life insurance question. Okay, let's do A now. A says what? State one factor that determines the insurance premium rate. So they never ask you to find premium. So don't use this formula. For A, I think you will just write one factor that determines the insurance premium rate. Okay, for life insurance, there's 3 factors that you need to remember. First factor that will affect the rate is gender. Okay, or I write age first lah. Age. 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 Okay. Then the second one is gender. Gender. And then the third one is smoking status. Okay, smoking status, right? And I can explain a bit why these three things will affect the rate. First thing, age, is because if your age is higher, right? If you're older, right? Then jangka hayat means your life expectancy will be your jangka hayat will be kurang lah, right? And also your risk of dying, your risk increase. When your age increase, the risk increase. So the rate also would be higher lah. Gender also would affect, okay, when it's male, female, right? And then smoking status, right? So if you're a smoker, then the rate will be higher, obviously, because smoker will have a higher risk, right? But non-smoker will have lower risk, so the rate is lower. But they only ask for one factor, so I'm just gonna write one of it. I will write age lah. Okay, I'll just write age. Okay, so that's your A answer. Okay. Okay, now let's do B. B says Ashan is 27 years old and he smokes. Okay, I think I can straight away find out the rate for Ashan. So Ashan is 27 and then is a lelaki, right? Azhan is a boy's name, huh? And he smoke, so smoker. So 2 ringgit 91 cent. That's the rate. Okay. And then he said he allocates premium payments monthly amounting to RM 53.35. Okay, this is actually the premium monthly. So this 53.35 is actually the monthly premium. Okay. And if I keep reading, it says calculate the annual renewable life insurance plan amount which Azlan bought. Okay. What they are asking you to find here is the amount insured, or like the amount he wants to buy, right? Which is the face value lah. Face value means the nilai muka, the amount that uh Azlan wants to buy, right? So what we want to find out is the face value, right? So I will use this formula to solve it, right? So I will just write my B working here. Okay, for the annual premium, you already have it 53.35, but you have to times 12. You know why, right? Because this one is monthly, right? The soalan mentioned it. And this formula is, we have to put in the annual premium here. So that's why it's a times 12 equals to face value. Okay, for the face value, I don't know. I want to find, right? So I've just called it X for now. Divide with 1000 times with the rate. The rate I get from table already, 2.91. And now you can find your X. Just pindah lah. Okay. The X of 1000, I'll leave it here. Then this one, I'll move over there. Times move there, become divide. But you have to tekan 53.35 times 12. And then baru you bahagi 2.91. Okay, my calculator give me 220. Okay, so now you can get your X, which is 220 times 1000, and you will end up with 220 and then 000. Okay, so they want to find the face value, right? So what's the face value? RM 220,000. Okay, so this will be the final answer for B. Okay, okay, that's all. Okay, let's continue with question number 7. So this, just by looking at this diagram, I already know this is Form 4 chapter. It's called graph of motion. Okay, graph of motion. Okay, this one is the one, the distance time graph, speed time graph, that one. Okay, before I start, I will give you the notes first, right? So this is how I teach my student. So I will put a table like this. I will draw a table like this. Okay. So the first thing you need to know is there's two type of graph. First, we call it the distance time graph, DTG, and the other one is STG, which is speed time graph, right? And then can use gradient in both graph, find different things. I repeat, we can use gradient in both the DTG and STG to find different things, right? So in distance time graph, okay, let me just draw a line like this. In distance time graph, you will use the gradient to find speed. Okay, you will, in distance time graph, you will use the gradient to find speed. But in speed time graph, you will use the gradient to find acceleration, or sometimes they call it rocos. Okay, rocos means rate of change of speed, but it's the same thing. Okay, it's the same thing. Okay, that one is gradient, right? The next one is you can use, the next thing is, what's the next one? Okay, the next one is how to find distance. Yeah, distance. Or you can say distance travel, right? So how to find distance from both graph, right? So we find using different method. For distance time graph, you will find the distance by referring the y-axis. Because for distance time graph, the y-axis will be distance, the x-axis will be time. That's why we call it distance time graph. For speed time graph, the y-axis is speed. That's why they call it speed time graph. Okay, so I repeat one more time, how to get distance from a distance time graph, just refer the y-axis. But if I go into detail, there's also like a technique like how to butcher the y-axis, because some students they don't know how to get the distance also. Okay, you can't just look at the y-axis, you have to look at the line also sometimes, right? But I don't want to go into detail lah. But for now, I'll just give you like a rough idea lah. I don't want to go too much detail. Okay, let's continue. How to get distance from a speed time graph? You cannot look at the y-axis. You have to get the area under graph. The area under graph, right? Because for speed time graph, the y-axis is speed. So you can't find the distance by referring to the y-axis. Because it's speed time. So the way to find it is by finding the area under graph, right? What do I mean by that is like, for example, this is the graph, then you get the area under it, right? But you also have to look at which distance for how many seconds lah, because the question will tell you one whether they want like the whole journey, or maybe only the first 15 second, or maybe like first 20 second, or like so you have to read the question. Okay, the last part is average speed. Okay, average speed. In Bahasa Melayu, laju purata. Purata laju. So the formula for average speed is total distance divided with total time. And how to get total distance? You refer your y-axis, right? Because I told you already, for distance time graph, you just go to your y-axis, then you can get your total distance already. Okay, and then for the total time, you look at the x-axis. Okay, that one is kalau distance time graph. Okay, but for speed time graph, you have to get the total area and then divide with total time. Why? Because actually the average speed formula is total distance over total time. But for speed time graph, you cannot get your total distance easily because the y-axis is speed, right? It's a speed time graph. So you have to find the distance by using area under graph, just like what I mentioned earlier. And then only after you get your total area, then only you know what's your total distance, and then only you divide total time, right? Okay, so I'm done talking. This is the like the rough idea lah, like the stuff that you must know. Okay, like the rough, how to say, like the summary of this whole chapter. Okay, so if you don't know this, it's very hard for you to do this chapter. Okay, it's very hard for you to score this chapter if you don't know this whole thing. Okay, now only I will start to read the question. Diagram below shows the velocity time. Velocity and speed is almost is like same thing. So it's a speed time graph, STG. And then they said of a particle over a period of 30 seconds. So the total time taken is 30. So they already mentioned is speed time graph. So later we will refer to this part of, right? So for speed time graph, you need to know you will use the gradient to find acceleration. You can find distance by using area, right? So yeah, these two things you need to know. Okay, so let's look at the y-axis, speed meter per second, x-axis time, and then the line goes like this, like this, like this. Okay, if the line go like this, what it means? It means acceleration is happening because when the time is increasing and then the speed is also increasing, so it's acceleration. And then for this one is deceleration. Okay, in bahasa Melayu, acceleration is pecotan, deceleration is nyah pecotan. Okay, and then what about this? This one is not stop. This one is not stop. Okay, this one is called constant speed, or constant speed or uniform speed. Okay, in bahasa Melayu, it's called kelajuan seragam. It means that the car move with same speed for during this period of time. So during this period of time, the car or the particle will move with a same speed. It never change. The speed never change, right? Constant speed. Okay. Okay. After understanding what happens on the graph, now we can do A already. So A says what? State the uniform speed of the particle. Okay, this one easy. The answer is 15 meter per second, right? Because the uniform speed is 15, right? Okay, sometimes they will ask for the duration of time. Okay, let me change the question. State the time taken, or okay, state the duration where particle move with uniform speed. Okay, if they ask for that, then you will take 30 minus 20. Because if they ask for time duration for the particle move with uniform speed, it will be 10 seconds lah. Okay, because they move with constant speed for 10 seconds, right? But this question they ask for speed, so it's 15. Okay, okay, let's do B now. Calculate the distance traveled. Immediately go to the use area. Because this is speed time graph. I told you this speed time graph. You how you get the distance is by using area under graph, right? So calculate the distance traveled by this particle in the first 20 seconds. Okay, calculate distance means calculate area under graph. Okay, because this is a speed time. But they don't want the whole thing, they don't want the whole journey. They only want the first 20 seconds. So I will cut off here, and I will get the area under this graph, right? Under means what? Bawah. Bawah means this, bawah. Okay. But if I find is but I have to how to say, cut it off here also and find the area separately, right? So this is a triangle and then this is a trapezium. And then when you add them, then you get the total area, right? And then that's the answer. Okay, so I will just write area under graph. Area under graph. Okay, because that's how you find distance. You find the area first. Okay, so first thing is get the area of triangle, and then next thing is to get the area of trapezium, and then add them together. For triangle, the formula is 1 over 2 times base times height. The base will be 15, the height will be 40, right? And if you realize, the unit is meter per second here, and the unit is second, right? What happens when you take meter per second times with s? You left with meter, right? And do you realize they're asking for distance? And distance usually the unit is in meter, right? That's why lah. That's why you times them together. Yeah, that's why you times them together, so that you end the value come out will be in meters, which is the distance. Okay, let's continue. Plus with trapezium. Trapezium formula is 1 over 2 times a plus b times c. And what is a plus b? A and b will be the sum of parallel lines. So 1 over 2 times the sum of two parallel side will be this one and this one, which is 40 plus 15, right? And then times with c, which is the distance between the two parallel lines, this one lah. So how to get the length here is 20 minus 15, which is 5, right? Okay, so this is the working. Okay, now I just have to use my calculator and press everything lah. Okay, what is 40 and 2 cut left with 20 times 15, I think it's 300, plus with 5 40 plus 15 is 55, right? And then times 5 divided 2, let me press. Okay, my calculator give me 275 over 2. Okay, or you want to write in decimal also can. Okay, because the decimal also is like easy to write, 137.5, right? Okay, so when you plus them together, what you get? Let me press. Okay, my calculator give me 875 over 2. But this is the area under graph, right? But I told you already, area means distance in a STG. In speed time graph, that's how you find distance, is to get the area. So I will just write distance travel. Distance travel in first 20 seconds. In first 20 seconds is how much? It is 875 over 2. And don't forget the unit is meter. I already explained why is it meter. I explained here already just now. Okay. Okay, so that's the answer. If you want to write in decimal, can also. It's 437.5. Okay, 437.5 meter. Okay, but if you write in fraction, is the best one lah. Because sometimes you get many decimal place. So I always tell my student just write in fraction. Okay, because if you write in fraction, you will always uh correct. Okay. Okay, let's move on. Question number 8 now. So this one I think is a logical reasoning question. It's a Form 4 chapter. So let's read the question. State the contrapositive for the following implication. Okay, before I start, let's talk about contrapositive. So if they give you implication, you need to know the format. It will be if P then Q. This is the format to write implication. If P then Q. And we have to know what is okay, and there's some extra things you need to know here. P, sometimes we will call it the antecedent. In bahasa Melayu, antejadian. Okay, antecedent or in Bahasa antecedent. And Q we call it the akibat, and in English we call it consequent, right? You have to know this, this is quite important, right? So I repeat one more time. The implication format looks like this: if something, then something, and then the in front part, this one we call it the antecedent, and then the one at the back we call it consequent. And the soalan will ask you to find converse, inverse, and contrapositive. Okay, they will ask this, right? This one all you have to know. Okay, if they ask you to find converse, you will terbalikkan your antecedent and consequent, and it becomes if Q then P. If they ask for converse, right? If they ask for inverse, don't terbalikkan, just do negation. So it becomes if not P, then not Q. Okay, this symbol is the symbol for negation, right? It means you do how to say, you do negation lah. Okay, so it becomes if not P, then not Q. Okay, what about contrapositive? Contrapositive would be if not Q, then not P. Okay, if not Q, then not P. It means you have to terbalikkan and then do negation. So I repeat one more time. Converse is just terbalikkan your P and Q. Inverse, don't terbalik, but do negation at P and Q. What about contrapositive? Contrapositive is terbalik and do negation. So that's why it becomes if not Q, then not P. Okay. Okay. You need to understand all this. So now let's do this question. State the contrapositive. So they already give us an implication. If something, then something. So underline this one, write P. Underline this one, write Q. Now write the contrapositive. If, okay, the format says if not Q, then not P. So I will write Q first, but I have to do negation. It means I have to do not Q. So how to do negation? This is an equation, right? So for equation, if you want to do negation, just change the symbol, the equal, change to not equal. Okay. And then you correct, then the x equals 3 also have to do negation. So x not equals to 3 like this. Right? Okay, sometimes the question will ask you to determine the truth value. It means they want you to write the true false after you write the contrapositive. Okay, but this question they never ask. But if they ask, you need to know how to determine the true value also. And also one thing I want to mention something extra. Implication. Okay, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. So implication and contrapositive will always have the same truth value. Okay, it means if your original implication is true, then your contrapositive will also be true. And if your implication is false, then your contrapositive is false. They will always have the same truth value. And then converse and inverse will also always have the same truth value. Okay, the true false will always be same, right? Okay, so that one. Okay, this question we never use that knowledge lah, but it's important to know this also, right? So yeah. Okay, I think I'll just stop here. Let's continue. Let's continue. B, complete premise 2 of the following argument based on the given conclusion. So we have premise 1, if something, then something, which is the implication. So I'll just underline this and write P and write Q. Okay, done already. Because whenever it's implication, I always do that. I always underline, write the PQ. Okay, premise 2, they never give us. And then for conclusion, they write 9K smaller or equals 54. You can clearly see that this is P, right? But it's not P actually, it's not P. Okay, it means like it's P but negation, right? It's P after doing negation, right? Because P is 9K bigger 54. But this one is 9K smaller or equals 54, right? So if bigger, when we do negation, it becomes smaller equals, right? So what if it's smaller? When we do negation, it becomes what? Bigger equals, right? Because negation is like you're taking the opposite of it, like you're taking the lawan dia. So bigger lawan dia ni lah, ini lawan dia ni, right? So let's erase this. So I think I have to write Q here lah. I have to do negation Q here. So it becomes K bigger than 5 becomes smaller or equals 5. So this is the answer. So this is only worth 1 marks, right? So that's all. I hope you understand. If 9K bigger than 54, then K bigger than 5. And then K is smaller or equals 5. Right? It means Q is not true. Q is not true. That means P is also not true. Okay? It means like if you do negation, it means the other one also have to do negation. Okay? And also if you do negation, premise 2 has to be, you have to mention Q first. Okay? Okay. Okay, anyways, that's all. Let's continue. All right, soalan C, let's see what they want. Make a general inductive conclusion for pattern numbers 1, 5, 11, 19, which follow the following pattern. So this is under inductive argument. If it's under inductive argument, they like to ask you to write conclusion. Okay, they always like that. And the method is you have to write the sequence. The sequence can be written as, or you can also write the pattern. Okay, the pattern can be written as, and then you write down the answer here lah. Okay, but you have to generalize. You have to generalize. And what does it mean by generalize? Means you convert all this specific statement to a formula. Okay, because this statement now they are all very specific. Okay, very specific. But I want to generalize it. Okay, I want to generalize. And how we do that is don't look at the answer, just look at how you get the answer and see what changed. So what changed here? Bracket 1 square minus 1, bracket 2 square minus 1, bracket 3 square minus 1, bracket 4 square minus. So what changed? The 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So when you generalize, you become bracket n square minus 1. It means the square never changed, right? So the square stays because it never changed. The bracket also never changed, so the bracket also I have. Minus 1 never changed, so the minus 1 also changed. So the minus 1 I stay the same also. But the 1, 2, 3, 4 keep changing. That's why I write n. And then at the back here, plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, plus 4, I have to write plus n. Right? So it means if the number keeps changing, you have to write n. If the number never change, then you also don't change lah. For example, if it's minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, so when you generalize, it will be minus 1 also, right? Okay, don't forget to, after you write this, you have to use this symbol and write n equals to 1, comma 2, comma 3, comma 4, dot, 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 right? Because when you sub 1 inside, you get this. When you sub 2 inside, you get the second one. The sub 3, you get this one. Sub 4, you get this one, right? So you have to write the 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, sometimes it's 0, 1, 2. Sometimes it start with 0, okay? So if it start with 0, then you write 0 first lah. Okay, but this one is start with 1. And one more thing is make sure, if got 2n, make sure they are both 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. Okay? Because if it's like 1, 0, 2, 1, 3, 2, then it's like, then the answer cannot be like this already. Right? Because if the n here and the n here is not same value, that means when you sub the one inside, you will not get back here already. Right? Then you have to make it same lah. Okay, but for this question, done already. This is the answer. Okay, so 2 marks. Okay, let's continue to question number 9. All right, I think this is a Chukai question, which means this is a Form 5, Chapter 4, under taxation, tax punya chapter. Okay, let's read the question first. In 2023, Ziad has a chargeable income of 33580. Okay, I think I have to mention to you how to find tax. So step number 1 is to get your chargeable income, and the method is take the total annual income minus with tax exemption minus with tax relief. Okay, I'm just going to give you all the formulas. Step number 2 is refer the table. Okay, this table, right? So I'll just write refer jadwal or refer table lah. Okay, refer table. And when you refer table, the table will give you two things, right? They will give you the base tax. In Bahasa Melayu, cukai dasar. Cukai dasar. And then they will give you another thing is the balance. Or in Bahasa Melayu, we call it the cukai baki, right? And after you get your base tax and your balance tax, you will plus them together, right? So you will take your base tax and balance tax, and then you plus them together, right? And when you plus them together, you will get a new value here, right? Okay, what is step number 3? Is to minus the rebate. Okay, is to minus rebate. You have to hafal all this, ini semua penting. Okay, rebate got 2 types of rebate. You need to hafal also. The first rebate is RM 400. Okay, but this one is only when your chargeable income does not exceed 35,000. Okay, tidak melebihi, does not exceed. Okay, if your chargeable income already exceed, then you cannot minus 400 here. Okay, okay. The second rebate is zakat, but the zakat you don't have to worry because they will mention in the soalan. But this one they won't mention in the soalan. This one you have to hafal yourself. right? Zakat, they will mention it in the question. If they never mention means don't have lah. It means don't have zakat lah, right? But if they have, they will mention it in the question. But this one, the 400 one, this one, they will never mention it in the question. So you have to hafal lah, right? So after you take your base tax plus with your balance tax and you minus with all the rebate you have, then that's all. That's the income tax lah. This is how you calculate income tax. Okay, sometimes you have step 4. Okay, but the step 4 is called PCB lah. But this one only some questions have, right? Not all questions have the PCB, right? Okay, and I think this question don't have. Yeah, I already looked through the whole question, don't have. So I will not go into details for the PCB, okay? But so for some difficult question, hard questions, they will ask until PCB, okay? And the PCB one is like you have to do extra working, okay? You have to get the income tax and you have to compare with your PCB. And if the PCB they give you, you have to times 12. After you times 12, compare the value with your income tax, see whether it's like bigger or smaller, and you have to hafal if which case is kurang bayar, which case is lebih bayar. Kurang bayar means insufficient payment. Lebih bayar means like excess payment. Okay, but that one I don't want to go into details lah. Alright, but I'm sure in my future videos, mesti ada soalan yang ada PCB one. Right? So by that time I will explain to you. Okay, I don't want to go too much details lah. Alright, let's. I think with this you is already enough. We can already do the A question already. So they said chargeable income is 33580. That means we don't have to minus the tax exemption tax relief already. They already minus for us. Okay, the 33580 is already the chargeable income, the CI. So this one already minus all the relief, all the exemption. Ziad has also paid zakat 130. Okay, you don't go and take 33580 minus 130. Weak students, they will do it like this. They will take this one minus this one. No, 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 no. Zakat is a rebate. Rebate tak ada orang minus first, tak ada orang minus first kali one. Rebate they will minus almost at the end, right? So don't minus that. Okay, so A they says calculate amount of tax rebate. 130 130 is confirmed rebate, right? I just told you, right? Zakat is a rebate. But you have to plus with 400 because your chargeable income does not exceed 35,000. I told you already, rebate, there's only two types you need to memorize. First is zakat, second is the 400. But you is the 400 rebate only have when your chargeable income tak melebihi, okay, does not exceed 35,000. So your chargeable income now is kurang daripada 35,000. That's why you have 400 rebate. And the total rebate here is RM 530, right? It means when I do until step number 3, I have to minus 530, okay? If I want to calculate income tax lah, and then after I do until the step 1, step 2, at step number 3, I have to minus the 530. That's what it means, right? Okay, let's see what they want B here. Okay, hence by using table 3, individual income tax rate for assessment, okay, using this table, calculate Zian's income tax for that year. Okay, if you want to calculate income tax, you just follow my step here. Do step 1, step 2, step 3, then you get your income tax already. Okay, step 1, no need to do already because they already give us the chargeable income, 33580. Then what is step 2? Refer table, get your base tax and balance. Okay, tax balance. So how to do that? We need to learn how to baca the jadual lah, right? So I will tell you how I teach my student. So you already know your chargeable income is 33580. So you straight away go to the table and you check 33580 which bracket. So 33580 belong to this bracket, right? Okay. So if it's belong to this bracket, now you have to focus on three things. First, you have to focus this one, first 20,000, and then you have to focus on this value, and the last one you have to focus is this. The rest all no need to the rest all tak payah tengok. Okay, so I repeat, cara untuk baca table is we only focus three things, right? After you know your chargeable income, you will only focus on baris atas sini, and then the RM here and the percentage down here. We only look at these three things. The rest all is not important. Okay, the rest not important. Okay, so now I will teach you after you already read the table. Now I will teach you how to baca the base tax and the balance. All right. So to get the base tax, okay, to get the base tax, this one is B working. So to get the base tax, is you just take the first 20,000 punya RM lah. So the first 20,000 they write 150, right? So that's the base tax lah, the cukai dasar. Okay, the cukai dasar. Then what about the balance, the cukai baki? How to get the cukai baki? Okay, I told you already, you have to check. You have look at these three things, right? The three things I circled. So why you have to look at the 20,000 is because when you calculate the balance, you have to take the chargeable income, which is 33580, is it? I forgot. Yeah, 33580. And then you minus with 20,000. Okay, that's why you have to learn how to read this from the table lah. Okay, because this is only for first 20,000. And after you minus, you have to times with the percentage, which is 3%, right? And by the way, this 3 is for down one. Okay, is for like this one. The 3 is like down one. Okay, the 3 is not for the first 20,000. I repeat, the 3% is not for the first 20,000. First 20,000 is 150. The 3 is for the following one, for the balance. So that is why you have to take 3350 minus the first 20,000, get the balance, and then times with 3%. Okay, so now we can press calculator. 33580 minus 20,000, and then times 0.03. Okay, my calculator give me 407.4. Okay, so I can write that down, but it's not the answer yet. Okay, this is just the tax balance. So now we can calculate our income tax. So how to get income tax? Take the base tax plus with this, right? So let's plus. Okay, when after you plus, it's not over yet. It's not over. Remember, there's one more step. You have to minus the rebate. Remember, when you minus rebate, then only you get your income tax, right? Okay, so what's your rebate? You have to minus 530, or you can also say minus 130 minus 400. It's the same thing lah. Okay, because why have to minus 130? Because of zakat. Why have to minus 400? Because of the chargeable income not exceed 35,000. That's why you can get the 400 rebate. Okay, now let's press this and then we will get our answer. Okay, my calculator give me 27.4. But since this is like like tax, I have to write RM. So, and when we write RM, we always write two decimal place. So 27.4, and you put the zero yourself lah. So that means this guy has to pay 27 ringgit 40 cent for the income tax for that year. Okay. Okay. So how many marks? 1 mark, 3 mark, 4 marks. Okay. Okay, that's all. Okay, let's continue with question number 10. So let's read the question. Kimi and Jarjit have made deposits in two banks, namely Bank ABC and Bank PQR in January 2023, as shown in the table below. Okay. In January 2024, it means 1 year have passed lah, because they put the money in January 2023, but now it's January 2024. So 1 year have passed. They have received interest. Interest means faedah. What is faedah? Faedah is, okay, if you put money in your bank, after some time, you will get bonus. Okay, like a bonus amount, right? Or like an extra amount. The extra amount is called interest, right? Okay, so they have received interest from the two banks. Kimi gets 175 ringgit and Jarjit gets 220 ringgit. Calculate the interest rate received from both banks using matrix method, right? And then they give you a table here. So I think this table is about like how much deposit they put in the bank, lah, right? Okay, I think you have to look at this word using matrix method, right? Like this one very important. So if you see this in your question, that means this is a simultaneous equation question, right? It's a simultaneous equation question, right? What is simultaneous equation? Do you know? Simultaneous equation in Bahasa Melayu is called persamaan serentak. And the two famous ways to solve simultaneous equation is the substitution method, cara penggantian, and the other one is called elimination method, the cara penghapusan, right? These are the two main ways to solve simultaneous equation. But if you take mathematics, if you got learn mathematics, right, you will learn another method called the matrix method, right? That's why I know so fast it's a simultaneous equation, because the soalan mentioned using matrix method, right? Because the other method would be substitution or elimination, right? So if they mention it like this, you know for sure it's simultaneous equation already, Okay, so you don't have to think, right? Like it's definitely simultaneous equation, but you have to use the method that they want lah, which is matrix method, right? You cannot use the substitution elimination method, right? Even though you will get the same answer, but you have to follow what the question wants, right? Okay, so now we have a problem because this question they never give us the equation directly, right? To solve the simultaneous equation, they have to give us two equation, and the both equation must have something x plus something y, something x, something y like that, right? But they never give us, right? We don't even know what the xy represents, right? So I always give my student tips to jawab this kind of question, because this kind of question is a story question, right? Like they give you a story, right? And they never tell you what the xy represents, and it's very hard to write down our equation if we don't know what the xy represents. So how I teach my own student, I will tell them, you first let your x and y represent something first, right? But how can I know what the xy represents? Very easy. You straight away see what they want you to find. You straight away see apa soalan nak cari. So straight away go to the last baris, see what they want to find. Calculate the interest rate received from both bank. So ignore all the information first. Straight away see what the question want us to find in the end. So they want to find interest rate received from both banks. So the XY will represent interest rate from both banks. Of course, X will be the interest rate for bank ABC. Okay, interest rate for bank ABC, right? And then the other one must be interest rate from interest. How to spell interest? This is how you spell interest rate for bank PQR. Okay, so these tips is very useful. I always teach my student like this. Straight away, see what they want to find and make that the XY. If they never tell you lah, if never tell you what is X and Y, then you can apply this method, right? To so that you can straight away know what is your X and what is your Y. Okay. So apa yang dia nak cari tu, itulah you punya XY. That's what it means. Alright, now we can read again this thing, and now we can write our equation easily because we already know what the XY represents, right? It's interest rate. But before I start, I do want to mention that we need to use one formula to do this question. This formula, right? What is this formula? This formula is the formula to find interest, right? So even though this is a simultaneous equation question, but they mix a little bit with the Form 3 Consumer Mathematics punya chapter, which is called the interest punya chapter lah. I forgot which chapter already, but you learn this in lower form lah. Alright. So they mix with the other topic to make it more susah. So what is I? I is interest. Okay. P is the deposit, or you can say like the principal lah, or like the starting money. The starting money. R is the rate, of course. Okay, the interest rate. And then T is the how many years, right? How many years, right? So let's read again. Kimi, he deposit bank ABC 2,500, 1,500 PQR, and the total interest is 175, right? But both bank will give you different interest rate, right? Some bank give higher, some bank give lower. But we already jadikan the interest rate XY already, right? So how to find the interest rate for Kimi in bank ABC? Okay, it will be 2,500 times with the rate, which is X, because that's the rate for bank ABC, and then times with how many years? 1 year, because he only saved for 1 year. Okay, from January 2023 to January 2024. So this is how you calculate the interest for Kimi for bank ABC. But you have to plus with, he also get interest from another bank because he also save in another bank, and he saved 1,500. So how to calculate interest? Use this formula also, PRT. The P is the deposit, the starting money, and then times with the rate. Rate is the bank PQR. The rate is, we don't know lah, we want to find. So we call it Y. And then times with 1 year also. And then equals to 175. Like this, right? And this is how you get your first equation. What about the other equation? Okay, let's look at Jarjit. So Jarjit, he saved 3,000 in bank ABC. So the interest will be 3,000 times with the rate for bank ABC, which is X, times with 1 year. And then he also saved 2,000 in bank PQR. The interest will be 2,000 times with the rate for bank PQR, which is Y, and then times 1. And the total interest he got is 220, right? So after you write this down, now you can use the matrix method to solve this simultaneous equation, right? But first of all, let's simplify first, all right? So what is 2,500 times x times 1? You will get 2500x. Plus with this one, when you times, it will be 1500y. This one, you would just be 175. And then this one is 3000x plus 2000y equals to 220. Okay. Okay. When you times one, nothing happens. All right. So we have our first equation, we have our second equation. Now we can use matrix method, right? Okay. The first step is we have to write this in a matrix form, right? This is how you write in matrix form. You put bracket, 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 right? So how do you write it? In the first bracket, you will write the coefficient. You will take out the coefficient. Coefficient means the number in front of xy. So what is it? 2500 and then 1500, just the value in front only, the coefficient. This is 3000 and then the next one will be 2000, right? After you take out the coefficient, now it's time to take out the unknown, right? Which is xy. So x is in front, so you have to write up. Y is belakang, so you have to write bawah here. And then for the last bracket, you just write down the answer, which is 175220 like this, right? So this is how you convert the equation, the two equation to a matrix form. Okay, but make sure it's arranged nicely first lah. X, X, Y, Y, number like that. Then only you can write. If it's not, then you arrange nicely first. Then only you convert. Okay, now we can, after we convert to matrix form, now we can solve for X, Y. But we have to use the inverse punya cara. So because this one is times, nothing in between means times. So when you move this over there, it becomes inverse. So when you move this whole matrix to the other side, everything inside will stay the same, right? Everything inside will be the same thing, but you have to write -1. Okay, means you have to find the inverse of this, and then don't and then of course you have to times with this matrix also. So now let's do the inverse. So what is the formula to find inverse? 1 over AD minus BC bracket bracket DA negative B negative C. Okay, but you don't have to memorize the formula actually. You just have to know where to write the correct value, then it's fine already. Usually I don't tell my students to memorize the formula. Okay. Okay, so 1 over AD minus BC, right? How to get the AD is this one times this one, right? So you get 2500 times with 2000 and then minus, okay, because that's the formula, minus with B times C, which is 3000 times 1500. Okay, so this is the formula. Okay, you just follow the formula, and then the A and D you have to terbalik. You have to switch place, so it becomes 2000 up here and then 2500 down here. And then for these two numbers, you have to cut under. It means positive become negative. This one positive 3000 also become negative, right? And at the back here, there's still something here, 175220. Okay, okay. So now it becomes xy equals 1 over. Okay, let's calculate. Let's tekan all this in our calculator. 2500 times 2000 minus 3000 times 150. Okay, my calculator give me 500,000. Okay, 500,000. Okay, uh, this value down here, we call it the determinant. In Bahasa Melayu is the penyentuh determinant, right? And you need to know that the determinant cannot equal 0. Yeah, the number down here cannot equal 0, because if the down here becomes 0, then it becomes math error already, because you can't divide by 0, right? Okay. So that one important to know also lah. All right. So let's continue. These two metrics, you can multiply them together, right? Because it's like there's three things times together, right? So I can take this matrix times with this matrix. Okay. Actually, you want to take the fraction times with this one first also can also. Okay, you will get the same answer. But I always prefer to do it like this, like the matrix times matrix first. So how you times is first you have to write down the order for this matrix. 2 row, 2 column, right? 2 times 2. This one is 2 row, 1 column, 2 times 1. And you can only times two matrix when this number and this number same. If it's not same, then you cannot times, you cannot multiply. Okay, so now it's same, so we can times. And the answer would be 2 times 1, which is 2 row, 1 column. That means your answer will be one number atas, one number bawah, 2 times 1 like this, right? So how to get the number atas? Well, you have to take horizontal times vertical, right? So the method is 2000 times 175, and then negative 1500 times 220. Okay, that's how you do it, right? And then close the bracket. Okay, and then the next one is also the number down here will be horizontal times vertical, but this time is negative 3000 times with 175, and then plus with 2500 times with 220, right? So now we just press all this, and then we will get our answer. So the 500,000, I write it down first, and now I have to press all this in my calculator. Okay, so wait for me. Let me press 2,000 times 175 minus 1500 times 220. Okay, my calculator give me 20,000. So just write it 20,000, and then the down one, let's press also negative 3,000 times 175 plus 2500 times. Okay, my calculator give me 25,000. So just write 25,000. Okay, now okay, I don't have enough space. Let me make this smaller. Okay, so now we can take these two value here and divide by 500K. Divide by 500,000. So let's see what we get here. So 25,000 minus 500,000, 0.05. And then 220,000 divide 500,000. Okay, I already pressed my calculator, the 0.04. My calculator give me 0.04, right? So I think I'm done already, right? But don't stop here, please, because the x and y, because if you just write x equals y equals, maybe the Permrixer don't know what the xy represents, right? So you have to write clearly here. So you have to write the interest rate, right? So x is actually the interest rate, right? Interest rate for bank ABC equals, and then the other one is interest rate for bank PQR, and then we write equals, right? Okay, for bank ABC, the interest rate is 0.04, but actually I want to tell you something. The interest rate for bank they is usually given in percentage one, right? Yeah, the interest rate is always written in percentage. Okay, so 0.04 is the same as 4%. 0.05 is the same as 5%. Okay, because 4 divided 100 is 0.04. Okay, 5 divided 100 is 0.05. Right? So if you write like this, you should be able to get full marks. Okay, okay, so that's all. Yeah, hope you understand. Okay, now let's go into bahagian B. Bahagian B, they say jawab semua soalan, right? Okay lah, so jawab semua lah. Alright, let's do the first question. I think this is a probability question. So let's read the question. Taiping's Environment Club will hold a trip to Tawau. Tawau is a place in Sabah, but it's not important. Like this question, they don't. You even if you don't know Tawau in Sabah, also you can do this question. Okay, the probability of Param and Nazmi joining the trip is 3/5 and 7/13. So this is the probability of them joining. Okay, number one, complete the tree diagram in the answer space by filling in the blanks provided. Okay, let's go to the tree diagram. Okay, this is it. All right, so they already said 3/5 and 7/13. They give this in the question just now. So this one, they write P, right? So P means what? P means param join. Okay, then what about this? This one is P prime. P prime means param didn't join. Okay, param didn't join. Okay, and then what about the N? N is Nasbi join. This one is Nasbi didn't join, right? So we have four possibilities, four possible outcome. It can be param join, Nasbi join, or it can be param join, Nasbi didn't join, or maybe param didn't join but Nasbi joined, or both also didn't join, right? So that's the four possible outcome. Okay, and then we also have to write down the probability here, right? So this one is 3/5, 7/13. And what's the probability of Nasbi didn't join? Well, it will be 6/13. Okay, remember this in the tree diagram. These two numbers add together must be 1. So same here. These two numbers must add together is 1 also. So what you take is you take 1 minus 7/13, which is 13/13 minus 7/13, so 6/13. So this will be 6/13 also, because the value here, you would do the same thing, 1 minus, right? Another way to look at it is like, if Nasmi joining probability is 7/13, then the Nasmi didn't join will be the other side of the fraction. The other side will be 6/13. Just take 1 minus, right? Okay, so I'm done with A. First question, 2 marks only. So kau team siap already. Okay, number 2, calculate the probability that only one of them joins the group. Okay, this is easy. This is easy. So probability of only one join. So what I will do is I will leave empty space here, and then I'll write probability only one join. Okay, but you kosong satu baris. So why you have to kosong satu baris is you have to write down the outcome. Okay, so can you tell me 1, 2, 3, 4, which one of these is only one join? it's this one, right? This one and this one only, right? So P and prime, and then the other one is P prime and, right? This one cannot. This one is like both join, right? And then this one also cannot because this one both didn't join. So if you want only one join, then it's actually this one and this one, right? And I recommend writing down the outcome first before finding the probability. Okay, how to get the probability of this one? It'll be 3/5 times 6/13. Okay, times. Okay. Then the other one will be 7/13 times 7/13. Okay. And then you wait. I think I made a mistake here. This is not 7/13. This is 2/5. Sorry. Okay, I made a careless mistake here. I told you, right, the sum here must be 1, right? So this should be 2/5 actually, right? But this one correct already lah. Okay, I made careless mistake. I remember just now I even mentioned the sum here must be 1, and then I continue to make mistake. Okay, sorry. So this one is should be 3/5 times 6/13, but this one is yeah, this one is wrong. It should be 2/5, and then multiply with 7/13. Yeah, and then you add them together. Okay, so when you find the probability for this, it must be probability here times probability here. Okay, the other one also times, and then plus them together, and then you get answer. Okay, let's press calculator. 3/5 times 6/13, 18/65, and then the other one 2/5 times 7/13, 14/65. So now we just have to plus them together, and you will get 32/65, right? So that's the final answer. Yeah, finished. That's all. Okay, let's continue with question B. Let's read first. Diagram 5 shows 3 cards labeled with numbers in box P. So we can see got 3 cards. And then 5 cards labeled with letters in box Q. So in box Q, it's 5 letter cards. XP is like 3 number cards. Okay, no problem. Let's keep reading. Kelvin picks a card at random from box P and then picks a card at random from box Q. It means he take one from here and then take one from here, right? So what is the total possibility? Got how many possibility? It will be 3 times 5. Okay, not 3 plus 5. No, because it's like separate event, right? And we are, if it's separate, you have to take 3 times 5. Okay, so total got 15 possibilities. Okay, let's see what they want. List the sample space of all the possible outcomes of the event. Hence, find the probability that a card with an odd number and a card labeled with letter N are picked. So they want me to list the sample space of all the possible outcomes. It means they want you to list down all the 15 possibilities, right? Right? Okay, for this question, I like to explain using table, right? Because sometimes students will ask me, like, sir, why got 15, right? So I will explain using table. So in box P, you have 55, 63, 67, right? That's box P. And then for box Q, we have F, we have H, we have L, we have N, we have Z, right? And if you count got how many boxes here, there should be 15. All right. Every one of these box represent one of the 15 possibilities. Okay. So for example, what this box represents, this one, it represents 63F, right? But it's also possible 67F, 55H, 60, like, yeah, right? And if you count got how many boxes here, there should be 15, right? Because 3 times 5, right? So in total got 15 possibilities. But I think we need to list down lah, because they say list the sample space. Sample space means like you have to list down all the possibilities, right? So let's list down the sample space. So how do we list down? We have to open this curly bracket and then start writing the 15 possibility. So the first one is 55F. Second one is 63F. Next one is 67F. Okay. And then next one will be 55. 55H. Yeah. So 55H. And then 63H. And then 67H. Next one will be 55L. Okay, this is very boring, right? 63 L, and then 67L, right? And then the next one, what is it? 55. Okay, N, right? And then 63 N, 67 N. Okay, the final last three, 55Z, 63Z, and then 67Z. And then don't forget to close the curly bracket. Okay, these are 15 possibilities, right? 1, 2, 3 times 5. Okay, actually what I'm doing just now is I'm just writing down all the 15 possibilities. Okay, I'm just listing it out, right? Okay, now I already did what they asked me to do, which is list down the sample space. Now we can find the probability for number one, right? Okay, so how to do question number one? Let's read the question first. They want to find probability that a card with odd number and a card label with n are picked. So what I will do now is I will kosong satu baris. I leave a empty space here, and then I write probability of what they want, odd number and n. So odd number and n. Okay. Okay, why I ask you to leave an empty space here? Because you have to write down the possible outcome. You must do that. Okay. You must do that in exam. Okay. That's why just now when I do A also, I also do the same, right? You see, I write down the outcome. So you have to write down which outcome out of the 15, which outcome got satisfy this condition, odd number and n. So which one? Okay, you can look from the table, right? It's easier to look at the table actually compared to looking at this. Okay, but if you want to take out sini, can also. Okay? So let's look at the table. Which of these 15 boxes satisfy this condition, odd number and n? Odd number and n. N means what? N means it has to be odd number and n at the same time. Both also need to satisfy. So odd number is n is this three lah. Because 55 is odd number, 63 is odd number, 67 is odd number, and they have to pair with n. So yeah, only these three box fulfill both condition at the same time. So the answer is 3 over 15. Okay, but don't forget to write down the three possibility, or you can say the three outcome. So 55n, 63n, yeah, this one also odd number and n, and then 67n also odd number, and that's all. The rest all cannot. The rest all cannot take, because like yeah, the rest all only odd number, but it's like not letter n, right? Okay, so the answer is 3 over 15. And you can simplify this, you get 1 over 5. Okay, okay, that's all. Let's continue with the next question. Okay, let me move this. Let me move this over here. Okay, let's do number 2 here. All right, let's do number 2. They want to find probability also, but for card with a number which is multiple of 7 or card label with letter F. So same like just now, you kosong satu baris first, leave an empty space, and then you write what they want, probability of what? Multiple of 7, okay? Multiple of 7, or what? Or letter F, right? So definitely it's over 15, right? Confirm one, the one confirm one, must be over 15, right? But we have to list down how many outcome out of the 15, which one got satisfy this condition. So multiple of 7 or F. Okay, what does it mean by or? Okay, let me explain. If the soalan say and, if the soalan say and, you will only take this. But if the soalan says or, if the soalan say or, you will take all this. You see the difference, right? So what does it mean? If n, it has to be odd number and letter n, right? It means like both also need to satisfy. But if they say or, doesn't have to satisfy both condition. Okay, it can satisfy only one of it also can, right? So now what I will do now, I will look at multiple of 7, right? Okay, let me erase this first. Okay, so now I will look at multiple of 7, right? Multiple of 7, and then I look at which number is multiple of 7. So only 63 is multiple of 7, right? Because 63 divided 7 is 9. 55 is not, 67 is not multiple of 7. So all this I have to take. You understand why, right? Because they say or. Or means like if you got satisfy one of it, then we can take already, right? So it doesn't have to be multiple of 7 and letter F at the same time. It just have to satisfy one of it. So all this I can take lah. And then letter F. So let's go to F and then take all of it. Okay, but this one already take, but we only count it one time. So these are the answer, right? So out of 15, got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 over 15 is the answer. Okay. And also, if you want to get full mark, you better write down the outcome. Okay, so multiple of 7 or F. Just now, which one I take? 55F. Yeah, 55F, and then 63F. Yeah, because it has F, right? And then 67F. Okay, and then what else? 63H. 63L, because it's multiple of 7, and then 63N, okay, not enough space, 63N, and then 63Z, then close bracket. So got 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so 7 of 50. Okay, so remember the difference between N dengan OR. If they say OR means it doesn't have to be like it can just, how to say, satisfy one of the condition, right? If it satisfy one of the condition, then can take already, right? So that's the answer. Okay, that's all, right? Okay, let's keep going. Okay, question number 12 is a transformation question. Okay, so let's go. Diagram 6.1 shows the point negative 3, 4. Okay, I can see it. And then the straight line x equals 3. Let's draw it. Oh, they already draw for me. So I will just label it to make it more clear. So this is the x equals 3 line. Okay, drawn on the Cartesian plane. Okay, so far so good. Let's keep reading. Transformation Q is reflection in the straight line x equals 3. Okay, but they already draw for me, right? So I don't have to draw myself. Okay, but if they never draw, I will definitely draw it myself so that I can prepare for later. Okay. Okay, so no problem. Okay. Next one, state the coordinate. Oh, and transformation P, I forgot to read. Transformation P is translation -5, -2. So translation, the atas number will be the for pergerakan yang kiri kanan, right? But if it's negative, it's ke kiri lah. And then the bawah punya number is for pergerakan atas bawah. But if it's negative, it's go bawah lah. So what this means is that you have to go left 5 unit and then go down 2 unit, right? That's what it means. Okay. Okay, so far I think nothing much to label here. Straight away go to the soalan. State the coordinate of image of -3, 4 under transformation PQ. So they want to state image. It means they will give us the object. So -3, 4 is the object. That's why they say state image of -3, 4. So -4 is the object. And we have to put 2 arrows. Why 2 arrows? Because 2 transformation. But you have to do the Q first. Okay, yeah, it's always like that. You have to do the one at the back first, right? Okay, so Q followed by P, and then have to write our answer here, lah, right? Okay, so let's go and find out -3, 4, this one, and we have to do transformation Q first. Q is reflection in straight line x equals 3. So when we reflect, we have to count got how many unit until we reach the line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 unit until you reach the reflection line. So after you reflect, it will be 6 unit away from the line also. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the first image, 9, 4. But it's not the final answer, it's the first image. But now you have to continue to do transformation P, right? So transformation P is -5, -2. That means I have to move from 9, 4. I have to move to the left 5 and then go down 2. So let's use red color. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So go left 5 and then go down to 1, 2. So the answer is 4, 2. Okay, so that's the answer. Okay, another method to do this is you straight away take the coordinate, x coordinate, minus, plus with the atas punya number, and then take the y coordinate, plus with the bawah punya number. Can also, you will get the same answer. You see, 9 minus 5, 4, 4 minus 2, 2. Yeah, can also. So this is the fast way lah to do it, right? But it's the same answer lah. So yeah, that's all. All right, so this is only worth 2 marks. Let's keep going. Okay, now we are at question B. Let's read the question. Diagram 6.2 shows 3 pentagons. So I can say it 1, 2, 3. A, B, C, D, E. Okay, the small one. And then next one is M, N, P, Q, R. Also the small one. And then S, T, U, V, R is the big one. This one, S, T, U, V, R, the big one. The biggest one. Okay, so far nothing important here. Let's keep reading. STUVR is image of A, B, C, D, E under combined transformation JI. Okay, this is very important. This is very important because if you never read this, then you don't know who's the object, who's the image, and then you can't describe later, right? So let's write down the arrow first. That's how I teach my student also. In my tuition class, I always said, but if they tell you whose image, whose object, you need to write down who's the arrow. So got 2 transformation means got 2 arrows, right? 2 arrows. And they said STUVR is the image of ABCDE, means the STUVR has to be here, okay? Because it's this the final image. And then ABCDE must be here, right? This is the object, right? And why I put after 2 arrows is because under 2 transformation JI. And you need to know you have to do I first, then only do J, right? Because the first one is always the one at the back, right? So it's like I followed by J. Then what about the middle one? The middle one they never give. Okay, if you look at the diagram, got 3 pentagon. So siapa yang tak kena panggil nama, itulah yang awak tulis dekat sini, right? So which pentagon you never mention, you never write it, right? A B C D E already write it. STUVR, the biggest one, already write it. So this one definitely is the MNPQR. Okay, yeah, that's the only thing left, right? So this is what you need to do first before you attempt to describe. Because if you don't do this first, later you will describe wrongly one. Hey, imagine you want to describe the transformation I, but you don't even know I is from which one to which one. Hey, it can be this one to the big one, or it can be like the big one to the small one, or this one to this one. Like how you know, right? That's why you have to do this first. You have to read carefully who's the image, who's the object. Okay, and just because it's bigger doesn't mean it's image. You don't think like that. You don't think like, oh sir, the biggest one is always the image one. No, 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 no. Okay, tak semesti. So you have to be like write down the arrow. Okay, now we can describe transformation I. So transformation I is going from A B C D E to M N P Q R. So uh let's clean the diagram. Okay, so ABCDE is this one, MNPQR is this one, right? But which one is object? ABCDE. So this one I just put an O here, this one is image. So from here to here, they are asking you what transformation. Okay, I know it's not enlargement because it's the same size, right? And I know it's not translation because translation will not change the orientation, right? And you can see this one, the orientation change already. Because if you look at this box, can you see the 90-degree here? So the 90-degree here is at the top left. But now the 90-degree change to here already is at the top right. So obviously the orientation change, right? So definitely it's not translation. So it's either reflect or rotate. It's either reflection or rotation. And if you and it's very and I okay, how to say this? When I teach my own students, my tuition class, and I always teach my students, I tell them if you're not sure whether it's reflect or rotate, you use this method, you draw lines, right? You join lines, all right? But you have to join to the corresponding point. And if the line ends up looking like this, then that's how you know it's a reflection. Okay, it means all the lines are parallel. Okay, it doesn't have to be this direction. It can be like this also can. Okay, just if it's like, as long as it's like parallel, all the lines are parallel, then it's like reflection. Okay, for rotation, if the line looks like this, all the lines, they are not parallel, but they all intersect nicely at one point, then it's like rotation 180-degree. Okay, but if it's not this one and if it's not this one, then it's rotation 90-degree. Okay, so for rotation 90-degree, it will not be, the lines will not be intersect nicely one. It will be like very random one lah. Right? It's like very messy. Okay, the line will be very messy. Okay, like it's like very messy. That's how you know it's rotation 90. Okay, so now let's apply this method and see whether it's like reflect or rotate. So first I have to draw some lines to join the corresponding point. So it's very obvious Q punya kawan buyer is T. Q punya kawan is D, right? Why? Because you can clearly see that they have the same 90, they are the 90-degree part. So definitely these two is the corresponding point, right? Okay, let's draw the next point. R. R, the corresponding is E. Okay, I hope you know why, because it's like, you see, like Q to R 1 unit, so D to E, D to the R punya corresponding also 1 unit, so like that. Okay, the next one will be P, so 2 unit from Q. So this will be 2 unit from C. So definitely C and P is kawan, right? Okay, I think I don't have to keep drawing already. Of course, we can keep drawing N to, what is this? B, and then M to A. You can keep going, right? But if you keep going, you will end up, how to say, you will end up with you, because you don't have to keep drawing already. You already see which, you can already determine, like just from the 3 lines you draw, you can already say, you can already know it's rotation 90-degree, right? Because it's very messy, right? All these lines are not parallel and they didn't intersect nicely at one point, right? If they intersect nicely at one point, then it's rotation 180, then this is the center already, right? But the lines doesn't look like this, right? The lines is like very messy one. So I think it's a rotation 90-degree, right? So now we already know it's rotation 90-degree. Now it's time to describe. So I have to write transformation I is, okay, we already know it's rotation, right? So you have to write rotation. But you cannot just stop here. You will not get full mark if you just write like this. You have to write how many degrees, which is the angle. After you write angle, you have to write the direction. Direction means like, okay, angle can be 90 and 180. And then direction is the clockwise or anti-clockwise. And then the last thing is you have to write the center, rotation center. Okay. And we have to find out the rotation center now. Lah. Okay, we already know it's 90, right? But is it clockwise or anti-clockwise? I don't know. I need to find out the center first. Because after I find out the center, then only I will know whether it's like, because after we find out the center, then only I can draw a cross. Then only I can determine like clockwise or anti-clockwise, right? Okay, how to find rotation center for 90-degree? Okay, there's a lot of method, right? But for my own students, I teach them using the compass. Okay, so what to do is you, out of this, okay, all the lines you draw here, you choose two lines to draw perpendicular bisector, right? You choose two lines to draw perpendicular, choose two lines to draw perpendicular bisector, and then afterwards you take the intersection of the two perpendicular bisector, and then that will be the center. That's the method I teach my own students lah, right? But since I'm using laptop now, so I can't show you using compass, right? So I will use another method, and this method I just learned it recently. I found out from uh I found it out from another teacher. Yeah, I learned this from another teacher. His name is Liang Jie. Okay, so it's like you can refer to his latest video, right? So in his YouTube channel, he made a video recently, and he used a method without he made a video on how to find the rotation center for 90-degree, and he did it without using compass, right? It's just by counting the box, right? So I watched that video, and then I tried myself, and then I realized it works, but you have to do a lot of practice lah. I have to practice a lot. Okay, so I will use that method. So I'm still not used to that method now. I'm still not used to it because it's like my first time doing it like this, right? So I will show you how he do it, right? How he do it. So the lines just now which line just now okay wait, let me draw it back. So just now what's the line? I forgot it. Q to D, R to E, and then P to C, right? Okay. Okay, of course you can keep going lah. N to B, N to A can also. Okay, so this is how the method works, right? Of course you can use compass also. The compass method is also not bad one. That method also is like you can get the answer very accurate. So let me show you the other method. The other method is like this. You choose one of the line, right? Let's say I choose this line, the Q to D line, and then you count got how many box, but you don't count like this because it's sengit, right? You count horizontal, vertical, right? So you just count one, and then just go down like one, and then two, three, four. So in total got four box, right? Four unit. So one, two, three, four. And what you do is you take the four, you divide by two, right? So you end up with two, right? And then now you go back to the diagram. You can start from Q or E, and then you count two box, right? It can be any. So let's say I start from here, so it will be one, two, right? So one, two. So you end up with this, right? If you start from E just now, can also, you will also count two, and you end up with the same point, right? And after you do this step, now you have to find out the 90-degree. Do you remember just now you count like this, like this? So the 90-degree will be here. And what you have to do is you have to go to you have to draw a line from the point to the 90-degree like this, right? And after you draw the line like this, you will flick to this direction, but you can also flick to the other direction, right? So what happens when you flick? So, okay, actually you have to you have to flick from the 90-degree, right? So the line is like this, you have to flick from the 90-degree, right? And I know some students will say, hey, sir, you can also flick like this, right? So it can, let me use red color. So when you flick, it can be like this, because when you flick it this way, it will end up here, right? And then this will be your center, right? But you can also flick it to the other side and end up with this, right? Right? So it's like, the rotation center is either this one or this one, right? But only one of these is correct lah. Okay. But how can I know which one will be the correct one? Well, you choose another line. You repeat the same step, but this time you choose another line. But I will not choose this line. You know why? Because if I choose this line, okay, see one 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you take 4 divide 2, you will get 2, right? And if you count 2, it's this point, right? But do you realize this point, if you tarik from 90-degree, because just now I teach you, right? You have to, after you divide 2, you have to count from the, what is it called? Count from the, like the hujung, right? Like the end. And when you count, after you count, you already find out the point. You have to tarik from the point. You have to tarik, draw one line from 90-degree to this point, and then flick, right? But do you realize this point is already at the 90-degree? So it's like you don't have to draw any line already. It means this is the center lah. This is the center. Okay, this is the center. Okay, but I want to explain using another line. Okay, I want to explain using another line, right? So uh let me continue just now. So I already said just now, it's either this point and this point, right? Okay. So what if I don't want to use this line to explain? I want to use the PC line to explain. So let's use the same method. First is count how many box first. So it's like 1, 2, 3, and then go down. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's like 8, right? 8. And then you take 8 divide 2, you will get 4. And then you count from P, 4 unit, or you can count from C also can. It will be the same one. Let's count from P. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the, so you end up here also, right? But if you end up here also, you will do the flick, right? But if you flick, you will end up, but you have to draw a line to 90-degree first. I always forget this step. Okay. Okay, you have to draw a line to the 90-degree first. And the 90-degree is at the same place like I did earlier, right? And then if you flick, the line will become like this, it come like this, right? So it's also end up with these 2 points. So this line doesn't work lah, because this line they didn't tell us which is the overlap point, right? So what I can do is I use another line to explain, which is M to A. M to A, right? Okay, M to A is a straight line, right? Okay, if it's a straight line, this is how you do it. You find got how you do the same, okay? But it's a bit different, if it's a straight line. If it's like a horizontal line, I mean, okay, let's count first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then do the same. 6 divided 2 is 3, and then count 3 quarter. 1, 2, 3, right? But if there's no 90-degree, you don't have to draw a line to 90-degree already, because it's like straight so there's no right angle, right? It's okay, you just go to the just do like that, and then just flick like this. But it can also flip down, right? So there's 2 possibility. So if you flick up 3 unit, you end up here. But if you flick down, you'll be here, right? But you know the answer is here, right? Because just now you see the red color one is either here or here, right? And then the blue color is here or here. So the overlap one is this one, right? So this is the center lah. Okay, this is the center. Okay. Actually, you don't have to do so many times one. You just do 2 times only. You just use 2 lines, and then you choose this method, then you will get the answer. Okay. All right. Or if you want to use the compass method also can, and you will end up this also, right? So now I already know the center is 9, 6. Okay, 9, 6. So now we can write down our we can describe transformation I is rotation 90-degree, and if this is the center, we can put a cross here, right? And if we put a cross here, we can see that it's this direction. This is the object, this is the image, right? So if it go this direction, is clockwise or anti-clockwise? So if it turns like this, it's clockwise, right? So it's 90-degree clockwise, and then we have to write about center, and the center is 9, 6. Okay, so I hope you understand this method. This is actually a new method that I just learned. I just learned it recently. Okay, so I'm still not very good at explaining it, but like I recommend you to watch the Liang Jie video lah, right? His latest video, he explained about this, right? But he didn't go into like very super detail lah. He just choose one question to do it only, right? Okay, uh but it really works. Yeah, I tried it myself already. It really works. The method really works. Okay, and I like the method also because you don't need to use compass. Okay, hope you understand lah. All right, let's do the last question, number 2. Given that quadrilateral ABCDE, where is it? ABCDE. Okay, let's erase all the extra stuff. Okay, okay. ABCDE is this one, the small one, represents a region of 43.9. Okay, if this region is 43.9 meters cm square, then this also will be same, because they are the rotation of each other. When you rotate, the size never change. Means the area also never change. And then they say calculate the area of region represented by shaded region. Okay, whenever you see the word area in a transformation question, you have to immediately think about this formula. Area of image equals k square times area of object. Okay, area of image equals k square times area of object. But for this case, who's the image? STUVR, because the one is after and last, STUVR. And then what is the area of object? Okay, the object can be ABCDE, it can also be MNPQR. Okay, why both also can? Because both have same area ma. So it doesn't matter what you write here, and the end later you put 43.9 anyway. So it doesn't matter which one you put. Okay, let's just put ABCDE lah. Okay, but you can also put MNPQR, it's the same. Okay, for this one you have to put in the scale factor. Scale factor formula is length of image divide with length of object. So what is the length of image? All right, let's use this. Let's use two corresponding sides. So this one and this one. So this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. This one is 2 units. So the scale factor is 5 over 2. Right? 5 over 2. So 5 over 2 is the scale factor, and this is 5 over 2. And now it becomes 5 over 2 square times with ABCDE, which is 43.9. And when you calculate this, you will get the STUVR area. Let's press calculator. Okay, my calculator give me 274.375. Okay. Usually I will ask students to write four significant figure, but since this one is like it only stop at 375, right? They never give you a lot of numbers. If they give you many decimal place, then I will write four lah. Four significant figure. But there is only stop here only, so I'll just write it lah. Okay, so this one is cm square. But this is not the answer. They want area of shaded region. Okay, area of shaded region. So this answer 274.375 is not the shaded region area. It's the whole, the big one, the whole thing, right? So to get the shaded region, I have to minus with 43.9. So I have to take 274.375 minus with 43.9. Then only I can get my final answer. Okay, let's press. Okay, my calculator give me 230.475, right? So that should be the final answer, 230.475. And the unit is cm square. Let me check. Yeah, cm square. Okay. Okay, that's all. Okay, let's continue with question number 13. I think this is a measures of dispersion chapter for ungrouped data, because I see the dot plot, right? Dot plot, you learned this in Form 4. Okay, measures of dispersion for ungrouped data. Okay, number 13. Diagram 7 shows a box plot. Actually, it's dot plot. Yeah, the salah already. This one is not box plot. Box plot is not like this. Box plot is like this. This one is box plot. Okay. So I think they made a mistake here. This one is dot plot. You see in Bahasa Melayu also they call it plot titik. Okay, but the BM version is correct lah, but the English version should be dot plot, right? Okay, so diagram 7 shows a dot plot for the scores of 20 students in quiz pencinta alam. It means there will be 20 dots here, right? And every dot here represents score for one pupil, or one student, right? So this dot means that, okay, this person score 11. This one, another one score 11, another score 14, another score 14, and so on lah. And they already say got 20, so there should be 20 dots here. Okay. Okay, so A, they want to find range. Okay, the range formula is you take the maximum value minus the minimum value. In this case, you will take the highest score minus the lowest score. Highest score is 38, right? Lowest score is 11. So the answer is 27, right? So nothing much to explain, it's like very easy. Okay, now let's go to B. B says table 5 shows the price of food package sold in Asian Food Carnival, given that the mean is 10.4 plus X. So they give us the mean, and then they give us this table, right? But the table, they never give us like the price, right? Everything is like in terms of X, right? And then A, they says, the question 1, they said find value of X. Okay, I think you have to use this information, the mean information, right? So mean formula, okay, this is the symbol for mean. The formula is you take the sum of X divided by N. If it's ungrouped data, this is how you do it, right? Just take the sum of everything and then divide by N, right? So for this case will be the sum of price of all the package lah. Okay, so it will be X plus 2 plus X plus 2X plus 5 plus X minus 3 plus 3X. Okay, usually when I teach my own student, I will always tell them to open bracket, right? But for this question, you don't have to open also can, because everything is like plus together, right? So even if you put the bracket later, it will end up the same thing also. Okay, but if the bracket Depan here is minus, then you have to be careful. Okay. All right. And then divide by how many package? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you will get 10.4 plus x. Right? Because that's the mean, right? Okay. Now you can solve for x. Okay, let's do up here first. So x plus 2x plus x plus 3x. So x plus x is 2x, 2x plus 2x is 4x, 4x plus x is 5x, 5x plus 3x is 8x. Right? So x hanya boleh tambah dengan x, number hanya boleh tambah dengan number. Okay, 2 plus 5, 7 minus 3, 4. Right? And then the 5, you can bring it over there, become times. So when you take 5 times 10.4, you use calculator, and your calculator give 52. So you write 52. And don't forget the x also, you have to times 5, so you end up with 5x. Okay, now how to find x? X hanya boleh buat dengan x, so you put it at the same side lah. So 8x plus 5, move it here, become minus. And then 52 is already here, so just stay here lah. And then the 4 pindah jadi minus. So here you end up with 3x, here you end up with 48. So x is equals to 16. Okay, all right, so that's your x answer. So number 1 finished. Now let's do number 2. Hence, calculate the standard deviation for the set of data. The formula for standard deviation you need to memorize, right? It's square root sum of x squared divide n minus mean square, right? This is the formula, okay? But the mean, we already know it. It's 10.4 plus 16. Because x, I find it already, right? 16. So we don't have to find the mean. We don't have to find the mean anymore. We can straight away go to standard deviation, right? But if you don't have the mean, you have to find mean first. I repeat one more time. If they ask for standard deviation, and if you don't have the mean, you have to find the mean first, right? But this one you have already, so no need don't need waste time already. So you can straight away put in all the values here later, and then you have to minus with mean square, which is minus with 10.4 plus 16, which is 26.4 square. Okay, 26. How you get that is like 10.4 plus 16, right? Plus x, right? X is 16. Okay, so now we have to put in a value here. The formula is take the sum of x square. It means everything here have to square and then plus, right? But you already know the value of x, right? So x plus 2 will be 16 plus 2, which is 18. This one will be x, which is 16. This one is 2 times x. 2 times 16 is 32 plus 5, 37, right? And then the next one will be 13. Why 13? Because 16 minus 3 is 13 lah. Okay, x minus 3. Okay, the next one is 3 times x, which is 3 times 16, which is 48. So now what you have to do is take all this square, and then add them together. So 18 square plus 16 square plus 37 square plus 13 square plus 48 square, right? That's the formula. All right, now you have to divide with n. N is like how many package lah, like how many numbers, how many data. So 5 data. All right, so now it becomes standard deviation equals to square root. Now we just press our calculator lah. Okay. All right, so let's press 18 square plus 16 square plus 37 square plus 13 square plus 48 square. Okay, my calculator give me 4422. So here is 4422 over 5. And then for the 26.4 square, I will not press. I will just leave it like this first. Okay, now I will straight away tekan everything, right? So I will just tekan answer divide 5 minus bracket 26.4 square equals, and then square root answer. So I will straight away press the whole thing. So my calculator give me 13.69. Okay. Okay, this one they give me many decimal place. So I will just write 4 significant figure. So 13.69 is the standard deviation. Okay, that's all. Done. This is question number 2 working. The working for question number 2. Okay, let's do number 3. Let's do it down here. Okay, they say in the second week, there is a 50% increase in the price of goods for each package. So all this price change already. All have to increase 15%. And then they say find the new standard deviation. Okay, let me think. 15% increase. Okay, if all these numbers, I mean all the price, if you, let's say you tambah 2 ringgit, contoh every value has to be every value tambah 2 ringgit, right? Then the standard deviation will be 13.69. Because when you take every data plus with a constant, plus with a number, okay, but if like every value add with the same number, then your standard deviation will stay the same. Because it's like that. If every value plus something or minus with a same number for every value, then the standard deviation will not change. Okay, that one is kalau plus minus, right? But what if it's times divide? Okay, if it's times divide, then the standard deviation will change, right? like for example, if every value times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, then your standard deviation also need to times 2. Okay, because when you times, the standard deviation will get affected. Divide also same, right? But this question is different. They say increase 15%. So all this value have to times with what? Have to times with 15%. And what is times with 15%? Let me think. Times with 1.15. Do you agree? The reason why is because, like for example, if I plus with 15%, right? So what you do is like you first take 18 times with 15%. And then after you get the answer, you take the answer plus with the original value 18 to get the new price, right? But this method is very slow, right? You can do it fast actually. Just straight away take 18 times with 115%. If you do it like this, you will straight away get the answer. Okay, you can get it quickly. So this is the fast way to get the new price, right? Straight away times with 115%. So it means all value here have to times with 115 over 100, which is 1.15 times with 1.15 times with 1.15, 1.5. And did you see that every value times with the same number? And if every value times with the same number, what happens to your standard deviation? It will be 13.69 times with the same number also 1.15, right? And if you press this, you will get the answer straight away. Okay. Okay, let me press my calculator. Answer times 1.15, 15.74. So this is the new standard deviation. So I need you to memorize this. When you take every value plus or minus with the same number, the measures of dispersion will not get affected. It means like the range will not get affected, the variance, the standard deviation, the interquartile range, they will not get affected if you plus or minus with the same number. But if it's times divide, then it will get affected, right? So I will write down here, if every value times or multiplied with k can be any value, the new range will be the old one, old range, times or divide with k. And then for the new interquartile range, same also. If it's every value times or divide with k, the new interquartile range will be the old interquartile range times or divide with k also. But the new variance, it will be the old variance times or divide with k square. This one special a bit. Got square one. Okay, and then the last one is new standard deviation. This one you take the old standard deviation times or divide with k. Okay, let me explain this. This is important, all right? I hope you understand what I write here, lah. Okay, what do I mean by this? It means if you take the data and every value, every single value you times or divide with any number, but it has to be every value times divide with the same number, then you can apply this formula. Okay, so the new range will also be the new range will be the old range times or divide with the same number. Interquartile range is also same, standard deviation is also same, but for the variance is like you have to put square. This is the only one that is like different. So I'll put star here. But this question they ask for standard deviation. That's why you can just take the old standard deviation, 13.69 times with the uh k 1.15, right? Because every value times 1.15, right? Okay lah, I hope you understand lah, right? So this is my notes. This is like just a nota for you. Okay, that's all. Okay, let's continue with question number 14. Okay, I think this is a trigonometry question. Just by looking at the sine graph, I can already tell it's trigonometry. Okay, so let's read. Diagram 8 is a graph showing the shape of the sound wave produced from radio sound for level 1 using cathode ray oscilloscope. Cathode ray oscilloscope is the machine that used to, how to say, that can, how to say, like you butcher the, like the wave lah. All right, but it's not important actually. That's not important. The important one is this one, A. So they say state the value of A and B, right? So A is this, B is this one. And then they say hence determine the trigonometric function for the graph shown by the cathode ray oscilloscope. Okay, so first thing first, let's look at the graph. This is obviously a sine graph, right? And if you want to determine value of A, it's very easy because if you look at the kotak here is 2 unit, right? But it's not 2, because if you look at down here, this one is the amplitude, right? And you can see the distance here is 2 unit, this one also 2 unit. And this one they write -1, so the A must be 1, right? And then what about B? Okay, you can see here 2 unit is 90 degree, This one plus 90 also. 90 plus 90, 180. And then 180 plus 90, 270. So B will be 270 plus 90, which is 360, right? So that's the answer. That's the answer. A is equals to 1, and then B is 360. Okay, so I'm just going to write it here. A equals 1, B equals 360. Okay, I already finished the first part of the question. The second part says determine the trigonometric function of the graph shown by OSK. So they want to determine the trigonometric function. When we write the function, you already know it's sine graph, right? So the equation will look like this: A sine bx plus c. Okay, and let me explain what A, what B, what C represents. Okay, A will tell you the minimum value. It will affect the minimum value and the maximum value. It will affect. Okay, or some teacher will tell you amplitude, right? Same lah. But I like to teach. I like to tell my students is like when you change the A, you are changing the minimum value and maximum value, and then when you change the B, you are changing the period, right? What is period? Okay, the period is there's a formula. The formula is 360 over B. If it's sine or cos graph lah, then it's 360. If it's tangent, it's 180. Okay, what is period? Uh, period means how to say it? Period is the okay. Let me explain. Let's say the B is 1, right? The B is 1. Then your period will be 360 divide 1. That means you get 360, right? And that means your sine graph complete one cycle at 360 degree. Okay, so what is period? Period is the time taken to complete one cycle. Okay, so if your B is 1, then your time taken to complete one cycle will be 360 lah, right? But what if your B is 2? What if your B is 2? Then what is your period? Period will be 360 divided 2, which is 180. And what is period? Period is time taken to complete one cycle. So that means if your B is 2, then the time taken to complete one cycle is 180. Right? So by the time you reach 360, you already complete 2 cycle. That's what it means. Okay, I don't want to go into too much detail. So let me just erase this. Okay, let's talk about C. C is when your graph will shift up or shift down. Okay, the whole graph shift up, shift down. Okay, after you understand this, now you can write your equation. So for the A is the minimum maximum value. If your minimum and maximum value is 1 and -1, that means your A is 1 and your C is 0. Right? It means you never move up, move down. Right? Because the maximum and minimum value it's like 1, -1. If it's 1, -1, 3, -3, 2, -2, 5, -5, then confirm your graph never move up, move down. So later your C will be 0 and your A is 1. So now we left with the B. Okay, the B, we have to check the time taken to complete one cycle. Can you see it complete at 360? Because B is 360, right? That means your B must be 1. So it means your equation is this. Y equals sine 1x. Actually, there's a 1 here, right? There's 1 here and there's another 1 here. But usually we don't write the 1. So I'll just erase it. Okay. That means this graph is a sine x graph. Yeah, it's a normal sine graph. Okay. Okay, that's all. Let's do B. So B, what it says here? When the sound is set to level 3, okay, the amplitude and frequency of the wave increases. So amplitude is the distance from here to here. So the amplitude increase and then the frequency also increase. The graph of the wave is represented by 2 sine 2x. And then they want us to sketch. At the answer space, sketch the graph for 2 sine 2x. But look at this. They only want you to sketch from 0 until 270. Okay, no problem. So they got give us in answer space, right? So let's go to answer space. So 2 sine 2x. Okay, but let's not do it in the answer space first. Let's do it, how to say, let's conteng first. Conteng means like we testing. Like we do a testing one. Testing. Because when I teach my own student also, I tell them the same thing, right? Don't straight away go to the coordinate. Because if you go to the coordinate, you might do something wrong like this. Like you might go and do like something like this, or maybe like you put the wrong coordinate, right? So I recommend you don't do the actual one first. You do like a testing one first, right? It means like you do like testing dulu lah. So first is we have to focus on the sine 2x. Did you see that the B is 2? And I told you just now, right? B will affect the period. If your B is 2, then your period will be 360 divided 2, which gives you 180. That means by the time you reach 180, you should already complete one full sine graph. So that's why it has to look be like this. And by the time you reach 360, you already complete 2 sine graph, right? Okay, I know they only ask you to sketch until 270, but that one later. That one don't worry first. That later only I will last kali baru saya tengok ini. Okay, what about the 2? 2 means that the maximum and minimum value will be 2 and -2. Okay, done. This is the answer. This is the answer for 2 sine 2x. But they only want us to draw until 270. That means I have to find out where is 270, right? Okay, 90 will definitely be here because this is like one sine graph, right? So half a graph, that's 90, right? And this is 270. So if they want to draw until 270 means this is the cutoff and I have to erase this. So this is my final answer. And now I know this already. Now I can just draw exactly the same thing down here, right? So the first point is here, but a lot of students they put like this. It's wrong. It's wrong, bro. It's wrong. That is why I said you have to do a rough sketching first. Like not don't draw it the actual one first. Draw the rough sketching so that you know like lebih kurang you know where's the coordinate, right? To prevent making mistake. So actually if you look carefully, this is not at 90 also. It's actually at 45, right? If you put here, later you cannot apa you will not get this same shape, right? Okay, so you understand, okay, let's go. So this one is 45 and then it come back down, and then the next one is here -2, and then it go back here. Wait, is it correct? Let me check. So 0, 90, 180, 270, they are both the x-intercept. So yeah, like this, right? And then point atas is like only 2 point only, 45, and this one is like 225. The middle lah, 180 to 70 middle. Okay, so here another point, right? And then the down point is only 1 point only, which is at 90, 180 middle. So the 90, okay, done lah. So now we just join all the lines, but don't join like this, don't join like this. No, no, no. You have to draw the sine curve. Okay, it has to have the shape. So it looks like this, right? And then like this. Okay, and this is how you draw the y equals sine 2x. Okay, let me draw again. Okay, so let's write the equation. Y equals 2 sine 2x. Okay, okay, actually the full graph, if you draw until 360, there's still another part here, right? But they only want us to draw until 270. Okay, so this is the answer. Okay, let's do number 2. Hence, find the value of x when y equals to 2. All right, there's two methods to do this question. First method is by just looking at the graph. So when y equals to 2, the answer is here and another answer is here. So you will get 45 and 225. That's the answer, right? Okay, another method is you substitute inside the equation, right? So we already know the answer is 45, 225, right? But there's another method. You sub the y equals 2 inside the equation here, can also. So it becomes what? 2 equals 2 sine 2x. Okay, because the y you already sub is 2, right? And you can write this again. Okay, it's the same thing. I just change place only. So now I can find the sine 2x. Now the 2 divided 2 is 1. Okay, if you want to find 2x, you have to move the sign over. It becomes shift sine 1 like this, right? But sine 1 is special case. Okay, it's special case. Special case means the angle doesn't belong to any quadrant, right? And if the angle doesn't belong to any quadrant, you have to hafal, right? And there are 7 special case you need to memorize. Sine 1 is one of it, right? So if sine 1, the answer would be 90 degrees. Okay. Uh, because for special case, you have to hafal. Okay. All right. But this one is 2x. 2x means it means you have to take your answer plus 360, which is 450, and then take both your answer divide 2, and you get 45 and 225. And you realize this answer and this answer is same. Okay. Okay, but for this case, the question never say whether they want you to take from the graph or do the working, right? So I think it's better you show them this working, right? Okay, even though you can just look from your graph and get the answer, okay? Like you can just straight away go to your graph and find the answer directly. But I recommend, but if I'm the one doing this in the exam, I will show them this, right? Okay, that's all. That's the answer. Okay, we are at question 15 now. Let's go. Okay, let's read. Shade the region that represents the following combination. So P union Q intersect R. So P union Q is here, here, here. Overlap with R, then the answer will be overlap with R. P union Q R. Okay, I think it's here, right? I think it's here. So that is the answer, right? Okay, if I explain like this, of course the strong students will get it really fast, but I want to explain. I want to make sure, even also, I want to make sure the weak students can understand also. So if you cannot straight away know the region here, you can use this method, right? You just label all the region, just label it Just label all the region 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like this. You can label however you want. You can also put like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 can also like mana boleh. All right. Okay, and then you start to do P union Q. So P union Q is actually P 2, 3, Q 5, and if they say union means you combine everything, right? You combine everything. So 2, 3, 5 lah. And then for R will be 3 and 4, right? But if they say intersect means you cannot combine. If union, then you combine. You combine all the region. If intersect, you choose the overlap region. So the overlap region is 3. That means the answer is 3, right? But if you use this method, make sure you erase all the stuff here. Okay, then only you shade the region like this, right? Okay, your answer space cannot have like anything here, right? It cannot have anything here. Okay, so make sure you erase them. Okay, so this is the answer, right? Okay, let's continue. P complement intersect Q union R, right? So Q union R is here and here, right? But you have to intersect with P complement. So I think the answer will left with here and here, right? Okay, if I explain like this, not everyone can understand, right? Like only the strong students can understand, right? So let me explain using the method. So if you cannot do it fast, then you do it like this, right? So this is P, this is R, this is Q. You start labeling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then you start to do the bracket first. So Q union R. It means you have to combine all the region inside Q and region R. So you will get 3, 4, 5. Understand, right? Because inside Q is region 5, inside R is region 3, 4. So when you take the union, combine everything, is 3, 4, 5. But you still have to do P complement. So what is P complement region? Okay, P is 2 and 3. P complement means you don't want 2 and 3. So the region will be 1, 4, 5. And then the last step is to do the intersect. Okay, because just now we do bracket first, right? Okay, so intersect means take the overlap region. Overlap region is 5 and 4. So the answer will be 4 and 5. That is why the answer is this, right? And remember, this thing you will erase. Okay, this whole thing you will erase. Okay, you don't have to show them this. Okay, they just look at where's your shading. They just look at your shaded region. That's all. This is just like a method or like a technique to get to the answer. Okay, so this working tak ada markah. There's tak ada markah ini. Okay, so that's all. Hope you understand. Okay, let's go to question B. Let's read the question. In the Venn diagram below, okay, down here, the universal set represents the number of students in class 5 Ungrouped who likes nasi lemak and fried noodles as the main breakfast menu in the school cafeteria. N is for student who like nasi lemak. Okay, straight away label. N is what? Nasi lemak. And then next one, M is students who like fried noodles. Straight away label. Fried noodles. And then the number of students in class 5 Hungaric is 43. I think this is the total, right? 43 is the total, right? It means here plus here plus here plus here, everything is 43. Okay. All right, next. If NN is 22. Okay, this 22, you cannot write like this. You don't tell me like, oh, sir, N is 22, so no, wrong, wrong. Because this 22 is here plus with here, right? Because if you look at the region inside N, it's not just this region, it's including this region also. Okay, so you can't write the 22 like this. Same with the 18. The 18 is for M, right? But the 18 is not like this. The 18 is actually this region plus with this region. So we can't write the 18 for now. And let's keep reading. The number of students who like nasi lemak only is 3 times the number of students who like fried noodles only. So this information is very important. They said the number of students who like nasi lemak only, okay, if they got mentioned the word only, that means it's only referring to this region, okay? Because they got mentioned only. If they never mentioned only, they said nasi lemak, it means this region and this region. But if they say nasi lemak only, then it's only talking about this region only, okay? If they got mentioned only. So now they are saying the number of students who like nasi lemak only, which is this region, okay, let's call it X, and then is 3 times the number of students who like fried noodles only. Okay, fried noodles only is this region only, because they got say only, right? And this one you will write X over 3. You understand or not? Because they said the number of students who like nasi lemak only here, I don't know, but I know it's 3 times this, right? So if this is X over 3. Okay. Okay, another way to write this is you can also write this X. But if you write this X, then this must be 3X. Can also lah, it's the same. It's the same thing. Okay. So I repeat one more time. For the nasi lemak only region, you jadikan dia X. And then for the fried noodles only, it becomes X over 3. Okay, or you can also make this the x, but if you make this the x, then this must be 3x, right? Because 3 times ma. Okay, so like that. Okay, now we can start to find the number of students who like nasi lemak and fried noodle. If they say n means intersection, right? Remember that n means intersection, or means union. So if they want nasi lemak and fried noodle, what they want is the middle, this one, right? But you can't find the middle part. Okay, you can't find the middle part because you don't even know. You need to find out x first. You need to find out x, then only you can take like 18 minus x to get the middle, right? So that's the tricky part, right? How can we find the x? Uh, okay, the middle part we need to know, but we don't know, right? The question never says. The question give us the 18, 22, 43. All these values I cannot write inside because it's like including more than one region. And also we need to know the value of x. So the problem here is the middle part. So let's make the middle part y, right? Let's write down the middle part y. Okay. So even though I don't know what is y, but I do know that the x plus y will give me 18 because the m is 18, right? So now I have my first equation. And then same with the 22. 22 is for the whole n, right? So I can say that the 3x plus y is equals to 22, right? And can you see I end up with two equation, and we can do simultaneous equation now, right? And we can use what method? We can use the elimination method, right? Because the y and y coefficient is already same and it's already arranged nicely. So straight away minus x minus 3x, negative 2x. Y and y eliminate already. Okay, penghapusan cara. Sudah hapus. 18 minus 22, negative 4. And then x is equals to 2. And after you know your x is 2, then you can, no, you know this is 2. And you know this is 6, right? And then what about the y? Okay, if you want to know the y, you just sub the 2 inside the equation. So when x equals 2, x plus y equals 18. So 2 plus y equals 18. Therefore, y is 16. That means y is 16, right? And you can also get the outside part, right? Because remember, they give you the total 43. So you just take 43 minus 6 minus 16 minus 2. So let's press 43 minus 6 minus 16 minus 2. Okay, my calculator give me 19. Okay, so 19 is for the outside, right? Okay, after doing all this, I think now I can do the working for question 1 and question 2. Right? Okay, question 1, this is what? Find the number of students who like nasi lemak and fried noodles. And means intersect. So nasi lemak and fried noodles both like both food is 16 right? Because n means like intersection. Okay? Hey, do you know some student they thought have to take 6 plus 16 plus 2. Saya pernah jumpa tau student macam ni. Because they thought nasi lemak and noodle it means like they go and add everything. No, 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 no. If they say and, you have to take the intersection only. If they say or, then only you take 6 plus 16 plus 2. Okay, okay, so very important. Okay, now they says the fine number does not like nasi lemak or noodle. So does not like both. Does not like both is 19. Because does not like nasi lemak or does not like noodle. So does not like, so 19, right? So that's the answer. Okay, all right, I'm done with this. Okay, now we are at bahagian C. Okay, bahagian C, they will always give us dua soalan, but you only need to jawab satu soalan, right? Okay, but for this video, I will jawab both question. Okay, I'll jawab both question. Because I'm doing this for revision, as for you to do your revision, right? So I'll do both. But during exam, you only choose one. Okay, let's read the 16A question. Okay, let's read. Daniel is a general manager at a leading hotel in a capital city. He is also a smart investor and made many investments in several companies and banks. Okay, so far nothing special, nothing important here. There's no information. Let's keep reading. Last year, Daniel participated in a buy, save, and win contest. Not important also. And he won the grand prize of 80,000 in cash. Okay, I think this important already. So so far the only thing important now is like he has $80,000 in cash, right? Okay, now what else? He plans to keep 50%, which is 40,000 because 50% is like half of the amount, right? So 40,000 you want to save, right? Yeah, keep in bank. Keep in bank means like you want to save So he saved 40,000, and then what about the rest? Okay, so while the rest is 40,000 because half 40,000 saved already, and then the remaining half 40,000 will be used for home renovation. Okay, he used 40,000 for home renovation, his new home in Semenye, and travel with money split according to ratio 3:2. How much money will be used for the renovation of his house? Okay, this is easy. First, we take 80,000 divide by 2 first. Then you get 40,000, right? Then you already, then this 40,000, they said they will use for home renovation and travel, right? So 40,000, you will split this into two portion. Okay, this one 3/5, this one 2/5, right? Because the ratio is 3 portion, right? For renovation. Okay, so this one is renovate. And then this one is, what is this? Travel. Okay, why is it over 5? Is because the total lah, 3 plus 2, right? So now they want to find the how much money you use for renovation. So it's very easy. Just take 3/5 times 40,000, right? So the answer is 3/5 times 40,000. Then you get the answer already. Okay, like so simple. Okay, so let's press. Okay, my calculator give me 24K. Okay, 24,000. Make sure you write RM lah, because this one is bit, is money, right? So that's all. So easy, 3 marks for this, Okay, I'll take it, I'll take it. Okay, so that's all. 24K. All right, let's go to soalan B. Okay, let's read. Diagram 9.1 below shows the rectangular living room floor plan for Daniel's new house in Semenyih. Okay, so far nothing important here. Before Daniel occupied the house, Daniel wanted to change the old tiles in the living room to a new 40 times 40 cm tiles. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to put tiles, right? And the tiles punya size is like 40 times 40, right? And you want to put tiles lah, if you want to change the old tiles. Okay, you want to replace lah. Okay, given the area of the living room of Daniel's house is 28 meters square. So the full area is 28 meters square. That means, that means x plus 4 times 2x minus 2 equals 28 lah. Because this one is already in meter ma, and this one is meter square. So when you take this one times this one, you will get 28. And you can already find the value of x here, right? But before I find, let's see what the question wants first. So did the question ask us to find x? Let's see. Find the value of x. Okay, good. I already know how to find x. But then they say, and then how many tiles are needed to cover the entire living room? Okay, I think you first need to find x first. After you find the x, then you will take the total area, which is 28, divide with the area of one tile. We find out how many tiles you need, right? Okay, but that one later lah. Don't worry about it now. Now let's find x first. So expand this normally, x times 2x, 2x squared, x times -2, -2x, 4 times 2x, 8x, 4 times -2, -8 equals 28. So when you nampak other square, 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 it means this is a quadratic equation. If it's a quadratic equation, you need to move everything on one side and then equals 0, right? Means make it general form. So 2x squared minus 2x plus 8x, you get plus 6x. The 28, move it over here, become minus 28. And -8 minus 28 is -36. And before you solve this using calculator, you can simplify, right? So 2, 6, 36, all these numbers can divide 2. So divide 2 is 3, divide 2 is 18. And then now you can press your calculator. You know how to press, right? I hope you know how to press. You have to press the menu and then equation and then polynomial degree 2. Okay, what's the A? 1. Okay, I'm pressing my calculator now. And then B is 3. C is -18. Okay. Okay, the calculator give me 3 and -6. Okay, I hope all of you know how to press. This is very important. So x equals 3, x equals -6. But you have to kosongkan satu baris first. You have to leave one empty space here because you need to write bracket, bracket. The first bracket, you have to write x minus 3. It means the 3, you move it back. And then -6, when you move it back, become x plus 6, right? But here I'll write rejected. You know why? Because if the x is -6, doesn't make sense. Imagine if the x is -6, then the length here would be -6 plus 4, which is -2. So it's not like other logic, right? How can the panjang for the living room, the length here is like -2 meter? Okay, length tak boleh ada negative. So definitely the x is 3 meter. Okay, the x is 3 meter. Okay, I will even write the meter here. So this is the answer that we take. Okay, but then they also ask you to find how many tiles are needed to cover the entire living room. Okay, so the whole living room, the area is 28 meters square, right? So number of tiles, they want to find number of tiles, right? So the way we do it is like we take the area of the whole living room, divide with the area of one small tile. So the whole area is 28 meters square, right? But we have to divide with one one tile punya area lah. And one tile punya area is this 40 times 40, right? Okay, if you press this, you'll get 1600 cm square. Okay, if you press in your calculator. But if you do it like this, wrong. If you do it like this, wrong. Why is it wrong? Because the unit is not same. Okay, the unit is not the same. This one is in meter square, this one is cm square. So now we have to make it the same unit first, right? And most people don't know how to convert meter square to cm square, right? So let me test you a bit. If 1 meter got how many cm here? 100. Very good. 1 meter square got how many cm square here? Okay, most people will answer 100. Okay, most people will answer 100, but it's wrong. It's wrong. It's not 100. Okay, so 1 meter is 100 cm. This is correct. But 1 meter square is not 100 cm square. It's actually 10,000. Okay, 4 zeros, right? Why is it like that? Because 1 meter square is actually 1 meter times with 1 meter. You agree, right? That's why you get meter square, because 1 times 1 is 1 meter times meter square, right? And don't forget 1 meter is 100 cm. That means it's same with 100 cm times 100 cm. And if you press this in your calculator, 100 times 100, they will give you 10,000. Okay, so you understand, right? So can you tell me if 1 meter cube is how many cm cube? It will be how many zeros? 6 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why? Because 1 meter cube is actually 1 meter times 1 meter times 1 meter, which is 100 cm times 100 cm times 100 cm, which is 1 million. Okay, like 1 and then 6 zeros. Okay, cm cube. Okay, okay. Hope you understand. So if you understand this, then you can do this question. So 1,600 cm square. If you want to convert to meter square, you have to. Okay, there's a few ways to do this, right? There's a few ways to do this. You can convert the the 28 to cm square and then divide, can also. Or you can also convert the cm square to meter square and then 28 divide. Yeah, can also, right? We just want to make sure it's same unit, right? But I think it's easier to convert everything to cm square. Okay, if you want to convert everything to meter square, can also. It can also. Okay, 28 meter square, how to convert? Times 10,000. Because 1 meter square is 10,000. So if 28 meter square will be 28 times 10,000. And if you convert like this, you will automatically get in cm square, right? Okay, I'm just going to press the whole thing in my calculator and let my calculator do the job. Okay, so let me press 280000 divide 1600. Okay, my calculator give me 175, right? And you don't have to write the unit for this because this is the number of tiles. Okay, I guess you can write tiles lah. Yeah, you can write tiles. Okay, okay. All right, so this is the working, right? This one and this one is the working. Okay, this down one, this is not the working. This is just my explanation to you. Okay, all right, that's all. Okay, let's continue with question C. Okay, this looks like a insurance question, right? Okay, Tupper, let's read the question. Daniel's job as a general manager of the hotel requires him to often travel to Thailand, Cambodia, and Indonesia to manage the hotel branch there. So he needs to often travel to manage the hotel. Okay, okay, okay. In December, Daniel will go to Medan in Indonesia for 14 days to work, right? So he have to go to Indonesia for 14 days. He also plans to take his wife and 3 children on vacation in Medan after the 7 days he is there. Okay, so this guy, he always travel a lot, right? And this time he traveling to Indonesia for 14 days. But he's planning to take his family there, but they didn't go together. His family go after 7 days he is there, right? So he'll be in Indonesia for 14 days, but he will stay in Indonesia for 7 days, and then the family join him after 7 days, right? And then it says Daniel will ask his wife and children to take a flight from Kuala Lumpur. Okay, they will be on vacation for a week. Table 2 shows the premium price for travel insurance offered by PT Insurance Company. Okay, understand? Okay, now this says A, what is the premium price for travel insurance Daniel and his family? Okay, I think you have to calculate separately. One for Daniel, one for family. Because when they travel, it's not always they travel together, right? Most of the time Daniel travel alone, right? It's just that only in December this time he is with his family. So we have to calculate separately. So for Daniel, he will buy sorry, for Daniel, his premium will be 230 straight away because he traveled a lot, right? So it's not worth it for him to buy the premium for like 1 to 5 days, 6 to 10 days, 11, 18 days, because he traveled a lot, right? And it's not worth, right? because if then he has to like how to say pay a lot, right? So for him it's better to just take the annual premium, right? Because he traveled a lot over the year. So for him the premium will be 230, and it's all traveling to Asia, because Cambodia, Indonesia, Thailand, ini semua Asia. So 230 is the premium and annual premium for Daniel. But for family, his family don't like only follow him for this one time only. Okay, the family only one time. So they the family will follow this one, family, but then they will stay for 7 days, right? Yeah, 7 days, right? Because he didn't follow for 14 days, he joined after 7 days. So 7 belongs to this bracket, and I think it's going to Asia, so it's 136 like this, right? So when you press this, you should get the total answer. 1230 plus 136. Okay, my calculator give me 366. I'll write RM here. Okay, so hope you understand what my explanation. All right, now what we do for our B number two. So they say give one factor that affects the price of travel insurance premium. So you can see some is like more expensive, right? So what affect the price? Okay, first thing is the number of days, of course. If you stay longer, then your risk gets higher, right? So the premium also higher lah. Another thing that will affect is if you look at the destination, right? If you're going to Asia and going to Europe, the price is different, right? And one more thing is who you're going with, right? Are you going with family or like going alone or going with spouse, right? So got so many factors that you can write, right? So but they only want to write one, right? So I'll just write number of days, right? Or you can write a duration of stay. Okay, duration of stay, or you can say length of stay, or like apa, number of days staying. Okay, number of days stayed can also, it's all the same thing. Okay, okay, so this is only worth 1 mark, so that's all, right? Okay, now we are at question D. So let me read the question. Okay, 50% of the cash won by Daniel, which is 40K lah, 40,000. You remember, right? Just now in the question A, they mentioned 40,000 he want to save in the bank, right? Okay, so 40K of the cash by Daniel in the buy, save and win contest will be deposit into a fixed savings account within 7 years. Okay, so you put it in the bank, save in the bank for 7 years. The diagram below shows the offers given by Bank Macmore and Bank Mesra for savings over a period of 7 years. So you want to save for 7 years. Bank Macmore, it will give you interest rate of 6% per annum, means per year lah, 6% per year. But for the Bank Mesra, the interest rate is also 6% per annum, but it says here compounding every 3 months. Okay, if you see the word compounding, that means this is a compound interest, Christian, right? But this one is like faedah mudah, simple interest, right? So now they says which bank would Daniel choose if he wanted a higher profit? Show your calculation. Okay, for Bank Macmore, you want to calculate interest, you will use this formula. Okay, how to mention this? Because this one is simple interest, right? Simple interest. So the formula we use will be, let's see, PRT, PRT, okay? Because it's the interest, right? But PRT is just to calculate interest. You have to take P plus with PRT to get the total. Okay, A is like the total lah, the ending amount. Okay, the ending amount. P is the starting amount, right? And then this is the formula for interest. I equals to PRT, right? This is the formula. But you have to plus with the starting amount. Then only you get the new amount, right? But then for this bank, it's a compound interest, right? It compounding every 3 months. Then the formula is different. The formula is like this: MV equals to P bracket 1 plus R over N power NT. Okay. Whenever you see the word compound in the question, you need to use this formula. Okay, this formula is given in the exam. Let me show you. So you guys just go to the first page, and then you can see it here, right? Okay, where is it? Okay, I see it already. Did you see it? This one, right? MV equals P1 plus R over N power NT. And they even give you the interest formula here also. Okay. Okay, so let's go back to the question. Okay, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? 1 plus R. Okay, this is the soalan. Okay, now we start to find our amount, right? So if he saved in Bank Macmore, what is the ending amount after 7 years? We use this formula, right? So I'll write here Bank Macmore. So for Bank Macmore, the formula to calculate the ending amount is to take the 40K, which is the starting amount, plus with the interest, right? Okay, the interest he will get, the bonus he will get will be 40,000 times rate, interest rate, which is 6%. 6% is 0.06, because 6 divided 100, and then the time 7 years, right? So now let's press this one first. So what is 40k times 7 times 0.06? Okay, my calculator give me 16800. Okay, but you don't tell me, oh sir, he saved 40k, but after 7 years left with 16800. Eh, another logic, bro. How come you save 40,000 after 7 years it become lesser one? No, right? Oh, okay, I have to write again. I accidentally erased the whole thing already. Okay, let's do it again. 40,000 plus 40,000 times 0.06 times 7. Okay, so it doesn't make sense if you say that after 7 years the amount get lesser, right? That's why you have to plus with the 40,000 to get the amount lah. Okay, so the answer here is RM 64800. And what is this? The ending amount. After 7 years, this, if he go to the bank to check his balance after 7 years, this is the amount, right? Okay, this one is for Makmur, Bank Makmur. Now, what about for Bank Mesra? Okay, Bank Mesra, you cannot use the same method. You cannot use the same formula because it's compound interest. And the formula is this. MV stands for matured value. What is matured value? The ending amount. The ending amount, right? It means after you plus all the interest, all those things, that's the matured value. And then what is P? P is the principal, or you can say like the starting money, the starting amount, all right? Or you can say the deposit, can also same thing. So the deposit or the starting amount. And then R is the rate. N is the number of times compounded in 1 year, compounded in a year, right? And then N is the same. I already explained. T is the how many years, right? Okay, so now let's put in the formula. So the matured value MV is equals to P, which is a deposit 40,000, 40,000, and then 1 plus R over N. The R is 6% also, so 0.06 over N. N is number of times compounded in 1 year. Okay, don't write 3, it's wrong. They write compounding every 3 months, but we all know 1 year has 12 months, right? So if you compound every 3 months, it will compound 4 times, right? Why? Because 12 divided 3. Okay, so this one is 4. Okay, let me explain a bit. If they say compound every 3 months, then how many times you compound in 1 year? You take 12 divided 3, get 4 lah. Okay, what if they say compound every 6 months? Imagine if they say compound every 6 months, then your N will be 2 lah. Because if you compound every 6 months, then number of times compounded in 1 year will be 2 lah. Because 12 divided 6, right? So that's the idea. That's how I get the the N, right? Okay, now we have to close the bracket and write N times T, which is 4 times 7. Okay, because N is 4 and then the T is how many years, right? So 7 years, right? Okay, now we can press all this and then we get our answer. So 1 plus 0.06 over 4, answer power 28, and then answer times 40k. Okay, I already pressed my calculator. My calculator give me 60688 RM, 60688.887, so 0.89. Okay, just write 2 decimal place because this is money. Okay, after I do until here, I think I made a mistake. This one is 5, right? This is not 6. Sorry. Yeah, if you take 40,000 plus 168, it should be 56800. Okay, so I made a careless mistake here. Okay, so after I did all this, now we can answer the question. Which bank would Daniel choose if he wanted a higher profit? So obviously Bank Mesra lah. So Bank Mesra. Okay, since 60688.89 is bigger than 56800, therefore Bank Mesra offers a higher profit. Okay, offers a higher profit. So this is how I will answer this question. Okay. Okay, I'm looking at the schema jawapan. I know the schema jawapan did it a little bit differently, right? So instead of finding the final amount, they just find the fit or they just find the interest, right? So the schema working is like for Makmur is this one, right? And then for Mesra, they take the 60688.89, they minus with 40k because they want to see like how many extra profit he earned. Okay lah, can also it's the same because when you minus this, you will also get like Makmur is sorry, Mesra is higher. Okay, so yeah, it's the same lah. You can compare the matured value, or you can also compare the interest. Okay, the profit. Okay, so like you get the same answer, right? Okay, so I will just stick to my working here, and yeah, that's all. Right? Okay, hope you understand. Okay, let's continue with question 17. So this is the last question. All right, let's read the question. Burhan wants to build a model house like the diagram 10.1. Okay, so this is the house and he want to build a model house. He has measured and sketched the house just like the drawing on diagram 10.2. So diagram 10.2, this is the drawing, right? He also found that the shape of the house resemble a combination of a cube and a prism with an isosceles triangle base. Okay, I can say it. This one is the cube, and then the one on top, that's the prism. Okay, the prism with isosceles triangle. Okay, so now I think I can read read the part A. So the part A says to facilitate the construction of the model house, Burhan needs to obtain a plan for the model. By using the scale 1:100, draw a plan for diagram 10.2. Okay, this one is under lower form also. I forget form 1, form 2, or form 3, but there's a chapter called scale drawing. You learn in lower form. It's called scale drawing, right? And this chapter we learn about the scale, right? So if they give us 1:100, we need to know that this is image ratio object, right? And what is object and what is image? Object is the real size, right? Is the real size. Image is the drawing, or you can say like the not real one lah. Okay. So do you remember just now they got mentioned something about model house, right? And then they also mentioned about drawing, right? So definitely it's talking about like the drawing ratio is 1, but the actual real size is 100 times bigger, right? The 100 times larger than the drawing, right? Because usually when you draw, you cannot draw the actual size, right? Because the house is very big. If you draw the actual size, then you need a very big paper. So of course you want to make it like, like want to make the drawing smaller, right? Smaller. So what this means is the real house is 100 times larger than the drawing. Okay, it means the drawing is like 100 times smaller lah. That's why the drawing ratio is 1, the real size is 100, the real ratio is 100. Okay, so with this, I think I can do my A already. So they want to draw a plan, right? Okay, we need to know what is plan. Plan means top view. Okay, top view. Top view means like you have to tengok dari atas, right? Top view. Okay, so I think later I have to draw it at the answer space. But first, I think I need to study the diagram first. Okay, so they got put some length here, 5 meter and so on lah, right? So when you tengok dari atas, you will see this first. Do you agree? You will see this surface and this surface. Do you agree? If you tengok dari atas, right? But whenever I teach student to do this chapter, this is called plan and elevation, this chapter, okay? Where you have like this chapter, you have to draw like the top view or the side view and stuff like that, right? Okay, so whenever I teach my student, I always say like, don't draw the first thing you saw, draw the last thing you saw. So the first thing you saw is this surface, right? But I want to draw the last surface. It means I will draw this surface first, right? So I'll draw this surface. So this is a cube. So this must be 4 meter, 4 meter, and so on, right? And you have to draw using the full scale, right? But if you figure logic, 4 meter is same with 400 centimeters, right? So do you think that you need to draw 400 centimeters? It's not possible, right? It's not possible. That is why they give you the scale here, right? So what you have to do is you have to divide 100. Okay, you have to divide 100 because this is the real size. Okay, this 4 meter is the real size. Okay, the object punya ratio 100, right? So to get the drawing ratio, you have to divide 100, right? Because the drawing is 100 times smaller. So what you do is you have to divide 100. So when you divide 100, you will get 4 cm. Sorry. Yeah lah, 4 cm lah. Because you divide 100, right? Yeah, so when you divide 100, you end up with 4 cm, right? So what I'm gonna do is I will draw a square which is 4 cm by 4 cm, right? And I'll draw it now, okay? So let's draw it now, 4 cm by 4 cm, okay? But you have to, how to say, like use a ruler and measure correctly lah. But I want to do it fast, so I'm not gonna Okay, and also I'm using laptop, so it's very hard for me to measure. So you measure yourself lah, and make sure it's like everything is nice, it's 90 degree, and you label everything, right? 4 cm, 4 cm, right? This one also 4 cm. Okay, so this is the square. Okay, next surface that we will see is this one. Is this one, right? But this surface is directly above this surface. So this line will cover this line. Same with this line, cover with this line, right? So therefore, I don't have to draw this surface. I don't have to draw this surface. But did you realize that the isosceles triangle, the base of the isosceles triangle is bigger than the cube surface? Did you see it? There's some extra portion here, and they even write down 1 meter, 1 meter. So that means I have some extra things I have to draw here, where it's like where it's like something like this, right? And of course the measurement has to be how to say, has to be accurate lah. Okay, and same with here also, you have to draw 1 cm. Okay, but you have to measure. Okay, I didn't measure, but you have to measure during exam. Okay, you have to measure using your ruler and make sure it's like really tepat. And why I say 1 cm is because 1 meter is same with 100 centimeter. And if you apply the scale, you have to divide 100. That's why you end up with 1 centimeter. Okay, so the panjang here will be 1 cm, 1 cm, same here, 1 cm, 1 cm, right? So this is how it looks like now. And what else can we see? All right. So after we drawing, so I'm done with this surface, and also this whole surface also I'm done. But there's one more surface, which is the top one, this one, right? So this one I will draw it now. Okay, if you notice here, there's one line. There should be a line cutting this in middle, right? Cut this in half, right? But where should I cut it? Okay, so they mention here is 5 cm, right? And this one is 1 cm. So the isosceles triangle will look like this, right? This is 5, and the length here will be 6. How I know is because 4, so here is 4 ma. So 4 plus 1 is 6 lah, right? And the middle line will be here, right? If I cut this in half, I will get a 90 degree, right? And if I cut this in half, this 6 will become 3 cm, 3 cm, right? And that means this is 4. Because when you use Pythagoras theorem, square root 5 square minus 3 square, you will get 4 here. So where should I draw this line? Okay, since the length here is 4, okay, wait, let me think. This is 4, right? This must be 2, right? So I think the this line will be 3 cm from the hujung, right? Because this is 1, this is 2, right? So total here is 3 meter. Okay, but 3 meter when you divide 100 is 3 cm lah, right? So I think you have to draw 3 cm from the hujung just to get this line, just to draw this line. So I repeat one more time. This line is 3 cm from the hujung. Okay, so what I actually need to do now is go here, measure 3 cm. Okay, this is already 1 cm. I need to measure another 2 cm, which is exactly half of the 4 cm lah. So it will be exactly half, and then just draw a straight line to cut this in half. And when you do that, the 4 cm becomes like 2 cm, 2 cm, right? So this becomes 2 cm, this becomes 2 cm. Down here also same, 2 cm, 2 cm. And then don't forget this one is 4 cm. Yeah, same with this 4 cm, 4 cm, 4 cm. This one also 4 cm. And this one also 4 cm, right? Okay, the last part is to use dotted line, right? So some of the lines you can't use hidden. This line you can use solid line, and then these two lines you can also use solid line, which is the 3 cm, 3. I think is the outside one, right? But if you look at these two lines here, the cube surface, these two lines, it's actually hidden, right? Because the roof is covering the whole cube. So we can't actually see these two lines. Okay, let me make it clear for you. So we can't actually see these two lines. It's actually hidden, right? Because if you look from the top, these two lines is hidden, right? This line and this line, this line and this line, you can't actually see it. So it's hidden. So we have to use dotted line. So what I have to do now is change this to a dotted line, right? Okay, so what I will do now is like I will, okay, I think I have to erase this and draw it again. Uh, okay, how should I? Let me think. Okay, let's use a line. Right, so it will be like this, right? Like this, okay, and then like this. But then this thing I have to erase, right? So this thing I have to erase, okay? And then for this, I will use dotted line, right? Yeah, yeah, so this thing also have to erase also lah. Where's my eraser? This one, erase. Okay, so this one I have to use dotted line, and then the rest all is solid line. This one is solid line, this one is solid line, and this one is also solid line. Okay, okay, let me just double check and see whether I did it correctly or not. So these two lines, 4 cm, 4 cm, correct, and then it's inside here, and then the middle line, this is the roof, and then the outside line, that's the triangle, and then the two line is the cube. So yeah, I think I did everything correctly. Okay, so this is how the top view looks like. Okay, so this is how you get full mark lah. All right, hope you understand. Now let's continue with B. Okay, B says Burhan wants to use a cardboard for the roof of that house model. And then they say, therefore, he needs to draw the roof's net on the cardboard to be cut. Draw the roof net on the answer space. Okay, what is net? Net means when you open up the 3D shape, that's a net, right? So if you look at the roof of the house, it's actually a prism with an isosceles triangle base. So what we have to do is, let's imagine the isosceles triangle. So this is the isosceles triangle, right? And then it looks something like this, right? So this is the roof, right? But you have to open it up because they want to draw the net. So when you open it up, it will definitely look something like this, right? It will look like this, uh, like let me think, like this. If you open this up, right? So I think it will look like this, right? So look like this, 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 and then there's an isosceles triangle, and then there's another isosceles triangle. But you have to use ruler. You have to use ruler. You cannot do it like me. You have to use ruler, and it has to be like 90 degree, and you have to measure exactly the length exactly. Okay. So let's look at the length. What would be the length for the roof here? All right. So first thing is, I think I need to know this length first. So this length will be how many centimeters? This length will be these three lines lah, I think. Right? Is it? One, two. Yeah, yeah. Right? So yeah, it's these three lines, right? So how long is that line? Let's see. It should be 4 meter. Divide with 100, of course, because of the scale. So 400 cm divide 4, it should be 4 cm. So you have to measure exactly 4 cm, okay, when you draw this. And then the next step is determine the panjang for this line. I think this line will be same with this. Do you agree? Because this thing, when you fold it up, this thing, they will align together, right? So what is the length of that? So let's go back to the diagram. It should be 5 meter, all right, or 500 cm. But divide 100, of course, because of the scale, so it's 5 cm. So this will only be 5 cm, 5 cm. Same with here, 5 cm, 5 cm, right? Okay, I think I'm done already, right? I think that's all, right? Nothing else, right? Uh, this line here will be 5 cm also, right? Because it will align. So I don't think I have to write that. And I guess I can maybe write down this, the how to say, the middle line here, right? So the vertical height will be 4 lah for the isosceles. So I guess I can put like an arrow like this, okay, to indicate that the vertical height here, the perpendicular height here is like 4 cm, right? Or you can like even do in the middle also, can like this, 4 centimeters, okay? And then erase this. Okay, and oh, another thing is this whole line, right? This whole line, we also know the panjang, right? The base of the triangle is 6, 4 plus 2, right? So it should be 6 centimeters, right? So 6 centimeters is from here to here lah. Okay. Okay. So is that everything? Yes, right? Okay. Let me just check with the schema quickly. Let me see. So B. Okay. 6 cm 5. Okay, I think I did it correctly. Yeah. Okay. So okay lah, let's label this also lah. 5 cm. Let's label everything lah. Let's label everything just to be safe. Okay. So yeah. Okay, the schema actually did it like me also. It's just that they draw it like, uh, how to say? Like they draw it like this. Like they put the triangle here, here, like this. Okay, but can also lah. Okay. All right, just make sure when you draw it yourself, make sure you follow the correct measurement. It has to be exactly 4 cm, 5 cm, 6 cm, or like this. And also make sure it's like nice 90-degree and all that. Okay. Okay lah. Hope you understand. Okay, it's good enough already. Okay, let's go to C. Okay, next, Bourbon wants to use several of those house models in a diorama as shown in diagram 10.3. Okay, I don't even know what is diorama, but it's fine. It's fine. I don't, even if you don't know the meaning, you can do this question also. So maybe this is the diorama lah, 10, because they say as shown in diagram 10.3, right? Okay, Tupper, we keep reading. The number of house models are represented by X and the number of tree models by Y. Okay, so we actually know what the XY represents. So let's write down 3 models and house model, right? So the number of house model represented by X, tree is represented by Y. Okay. And then they say the total number of house and tree does not exceed 90. Okay, I think this is from 4 chapter 6, linear inequalities, right? And I think you have to draw graph later, right? So they also mentioned here already, right? Right, 3 inequalities. So this is the inequality chapter. I can already write the first one. Total number of model does not exceed 90. So X plus Y does not exceed means tidak melebihi. So smaller or equals 90. That's the first one. Next one, the number of tree model is at least twice the number of house model. Tree model is represented by Y, and then at least the symbol is bigger or equals twice the number of house, so 2 times X. That's our second inequality. And let's see what else. Given the cost to build one house model is 1 ringgit. Okay, the cost to build one house model is 1 ringgit, but there's X number of house model, so it'll be 1 times X, right? And then the other one, the cost to build one tree model is 50 cent, but if there's Y tree model, then the total cost will be 0.5 Y. And then they say Berhan has allocated a budget of at least 50 ringgit for the cost of house and tree. So the total cost should be at least 50 ringgit. So what's the total cost? X plus 0.5Y should be at least, right? At least symbol means bigger or equal, because at least means like minimum, right? So it has to be minimum 50 ringgit. So it's either 50 or more than 50. So it's like bigger or equals 50, right? And I think that's all. I finished my question 1 already. So write 3 linear inequalities other than X bigger 0, Y bigger 0 that represent the situation. So this is the 3 inequalities, right? Okay, why they mention other than X bigger 0, Y bigger 0? Because X and Y represent number of model, house model and tree model, which is quantity, right? And this type quantity double other negative, right? That's why they mention X must be positive, Y must be positive, right? Okay, I think with that, we can continue with question 2 already. So question 2, they say by using a scale 2 cm to 20 on x-axis, 2 cm to 10 on the y-axis, draw and shade a region that satisfies the above linear inequality on the graph provided in the answer space. So I think I have to draw graph. So yeah, they provide a graph paper here. But before we go to the graph, we need to convert all this inequality to equation first. Because if we convert to equation, then only we can get our coordinate, and then only we can get our equation, and then find the coordinate, then only we can plot, right? So what I will do now is I will change all this to equation. So x plus y equals 90, and then later I find 2 points, and then y equals 2x, and then I also find 2 points later, and then x plus 0.5y equals 50, and then I will also find 2 points, right? Okay. Some teachers I know they will teach using table method, like draw a table. Okay, can also. It's the same thing. Right? It's the same. Okay. So after changing it to equation, now we can plot the straight line, right? Okay, but we need to find the coordinate. So usually I will find x, I will sub x equals 0, y equals 0. Actually, it can be whatever value you want, but it's easier to put x 0, y 0, right? Okay, but you can put any value you want actually. Okay, what if I sub x 0, my y will be 90. If I sub y 0, my x will be 90, right? So that's our first one. What about y equal to x? If you sub x 0, 2 times 0 will be 0, so your y is 0. Okay, if you sub y 0, you will get the same result, which is x also 0. So I cannot sub x 0, I need to choose another point. And I think I will choose maybe 45. Because I know if my x is 45, 45 times 2, my y will be 90, right? And yeah, you can plot 90 later, right? So you can plot this easily. Okay, now for our last point, when x equals 0, my y will be 50 divided 0.5, which is 100. And then what is y? What happens when I sub y 0? It will be 50 lah. My x will be 50, right? So yeah, I'm done with all the coordinates. Now I can go to my graph and draw these three lines. Okay, first let's look at the scale first. 2 cm to 20 on x-axis. Okay, good. So I will write here 0, and later this will be my x-axis. So 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120. Okay, this is my x, right? Oh, and one more thing, for this chapter, this topic, you will always put your 0, 0 down here, bottom left. You know why? Because this chapter, no negative value. Everything is positive. Because the x and y represents quantity. Quantity must be positive, right? So everything happens in the first quadrant. So your 0, 0 will always be down here. Okay, will always be like down here because everything is positive. Okay, everything is in the first quadrant. Okay, let's look at the scale for y-axis. So they mention here 2 cm to 10 on y-axis, right? So let's go 10 on y-axis. So I'm just gonna write 10, 20, 30, 40 until the top lah. 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. I think it's enough, right? Yeah, it's enough. Okay, so this is my y. Okay, now let's plot our first point. The first point here is 0, 90, 90, 0. Okay, the one is for x plus y 90, right? Okay, so let's make our diagram smaller. Okay, so now we can start to plot at 0, 90, which is here. 90, 0, which is here. Okay, it will be 80, 100 punya middle. And then take out your ruler. And you need to bring pembaris panjang to your exam. Because if you don't bring, your ruler will not it's not long enough, right? If you use the short ruler. Okay, so I think I draw it nicely already. Okay, let's make sure it's like accurate, because it will affect my next part later. Okay, let's write x plus y equals 90. Okay, the another thing you have to check is whether you have to use uh dash line or solid line, right? So if you look at the inequality, they all have this line down here. If they have this line, it means you have to use a solid line, right? You cannot use the dotted line, the dash line, right? So this is correct already lah. Okay, the next line, what is the next line? 0, 0, 45, 90. The one is y equals 2x. So 0, 0, 45, 90. Let's go. 0, 0 is here. So put the mark here. 45, 90 is very hard to plot, right? Because 45, because one box is 42, right? And this is 44, this is 46. So I will change the point, right? Let's not use 45, 90. Let's use 40, 80. Because if your x is 40, 40 times 2 is 80, right? This is much easier to plot. 40, 80, right? Okay, so let's plot 40, 80. 40, 80. Okay, but I want to mention, later when you draw this line, it will passes through 45, 90 also. Okay, if you don't believe me, now you see. So 0, 0, if you draw this line here, you will realize it will passes through 45, 90. Okay, if you draw it nicely, definitely it will passes through. Okay, okay, let me adjust. Okay, so something like this. Let's make this longer a bit. 0, 0, Oops. Oops. Okay. So you can see it passes through 20, 40. Yeah. Okay. The y coordinate is always 2 times. And then 40, 80. And if you go to 45, which is like here, is at 90, right? So yeah, that's the answer. And don't forget to write the equation y equals 2x. Okay. Okay. This is my second line. Now for my last line, 0, 100, 50, 0. 0, 100, 50, 0. So let's go. Where is 0, 100? 0, 100 is here, up here. And then where is 50, 0? I think it's here. 40 and 60 middle. Okay. And then use your ruler. Do the same thing. Just draw the line. Right. Okay. So draw it nicely. Okay. Okay. Wait. 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 Okay. So like this. Okay. Is this accurate? Yeah, I think it's good, right? Okay. Write the equation. I forgot what's the equation. X plus 0.5y equals 50, right? Okay, let's write down here lah. X plus 0.5y equals 50. Okay, now done already. Now it's time to shade. Okay, because they said draw and shade the region, right? Okay, when we shade the region, we have to look at the inequality symbol, right? So we have to look at the sign. So this one is smaller, this one is bigger, this one is bigger. Oh, and also you have to make sure the y has to be positive. If the y is negative, then you have to bring to the other side and then tengok dari sini. You have to look from the other side, right? So for example, if I give you like contoh lah, x minus y smaller sama dengan 90, then this is not smaller because you have to, if the y negative, then you cannot read from here. You have to bring the y to the other side and then butcher that from here. And when you butcher from here, then it becomes bigger already, right? Okay, but this one all y positive already lah. So you can straight away go smaller, bigger, bigger. Okay, the first line is smaller, but which line? The x plus y 90 line smaller. So x plus y 90 is which line? It's this one, right? It's this one, right? So if this line has to be smaller, then the region will be down here, down here, down here, down here, right? Okay, the next line. The next line is y equals 2x and they want it to be bigger. So the region will be above the line because bigger, right? Bigger means above the line. So y equals 2x is this line. But if I take above, that means the region will be here, here, and here. Okay. Okay, the last line, the y is already positive, and then the inequality symbol here is bigger. So we will take the region above this line. So which line is it? This line, right? This line, but it's bigger, huh? So above. So it'll be here, here, and here, right? Okay, so after doing all this, we can see which one is the overlap part. So can you tell me which region overlap the three region? Which region here got overlap the three inequality? All three inequalities overlap dekat mana? Dekat triangle, right? This triangle, right? So now I know my answer already. Now it's time to shape, right? So let's erase all this. We already know it's the triangle, right? Okay, so uh, okay, let me erase. So erase, 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 erase. So we already know it's the triangle because this is the overlap part of the three inequalities, right? And that's the answer. That's all. Okay, so this is question number 2, 4 marks. Yeah, finished. Okay, now let's besarkan balik. Okay, let's do number 3 now. Okay, number 3, let's read. Burhan can build a model of house in 45 minutes, while a model of tree takes 5 minutes. Calculate the number of house and tree models that can be completed in the minimum time. So the keyword here is minimum time. All right, so let's find out the total time first. What is the total time needed for Burhan? It will be 45 for one model house, right? But if there's X amount of model house, then the total time is 45x already. In minutes, this is the total time in minutes. And then plus with 5y. Okay, so this is the total time, but they want to find the number of house and tree model if they want to complete in minimum time, right? In minimum time. Okay, I will teach you using which method? Okay, I will use this method to explain. Alright, jawapan dia mesti berada di bucu. What do I mean by that? Oh, sorry. So, jawapan dia mesti berada di bucu. What it means? It means your answer will be at the vertices. It will be at the one of the vertex of the shaded region. So if you look at the shaded region, got 3 vertex, right? 3 vertex, right? And let's butcher these 3 vertex, right? So the first one is very obvious. It's 1080, right? So this is the first vertex, the vertices, one of the vertices of the shaded region. The other one is at 20, 22, 24, 25. So it's at 2550, right? So the next one is at 2550. And then the last one is, the last vertex is here. And it's 3060, right? Okay, maybe you will ask me, hey, sir, why you take out all the, why you butcher all the vertex punya coordinate? It's because I told you already, the answer will be at the one of the vertices. The answer, how to say? Yeah, the answer will be at one of the vertices. But I write down all 3 vertices because I want to sub inside this equation and see which one give me minimum time. Okay, and I have to sub 3 times lah because got 3 coordinate. Okay, got 3 vertices. Okay, so the answer will always be at the vertices. Alright, so now, so maksudnya jawapan dia mesti berada di bucu lah. So now I will sub in and see which one give me the minimum time lah. Okay, so this one is 1080. Make sure you sub x is 10, y is 80. If you terbalik sub also is wrong one. Okay, next one is 45x, so 25. And then the y is 50, then it's 30, then it's 60. Okay, now let's press 45 times 10 plus 5 times 80. Okay, this one is 850 minutes. The next one is 45 times 25 plus 5 times 50. 1375 minutes. And then the last one is 45 times 30 plus 5 times 60. Okay, my calculator give me 1650 minutes. Okay, so I think I already know which one give me the minimum time. So calculate the number of halves and three models that can be completed in minimum time. So the minimum time completed is this one, right? Okay, so remember what I said just now. The jawapan will always be at the bucu, at the corner, or you can say at the vertex. Okay, all right, but it's not over yet. It's not over yet because the question never asked you to find time. The question asked you to find number of house and number of tree models. So what I have to do now, I have to write how to say? Okay, I think I will write this down again. Okay, so this one ignore this. So I will write this down again. 45 times 10 plus 5 times 80 equals to 850 minutes, right? And then after I write this down again, I will write down the number of house and tree models, right? So number of house models and then number of tree models, right? Okay, number of house model you use X to represent earlier. You remember? Let me scroll up. You see? House model you use X to represent, right? And the X coordinate for the buchu just now you take is 10. So that's the answer. And then this one is 80, right? And that's all, right? It means you will, the number of house is like 10 house model and 80 tree models. Okay? That's the number of house and tree models you can complete in the minimum time, right? Okay, so that's all. All right, I think that's all right. Okay, yeah, kertas peperiksaan tamat. Okay, that's all. All right, see you next video.